A new look Indians team returns from a successful road trip to Toronto and Boston. Now the Tribe gets a look at a familiar foe as the Twins come to town. And we look back to the 1990s for Hall of Fame weekend at Progressive Field. Gold Glove center fielder Kenny Lofton will be inducted into the Indians Hall this weekend, and he'll join us in the booth as the Indians host the Twins next on Sports Time Ohio. Oh, it's good to be back home here in downtown Cleveland as the Indians open up a big weekend series against the Minnesota Twins. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Rick, last Thursday night when the Indians left on that road trip, that team is not the same team that starts this homestand here tonight against the Minnesota Twins. But, hey, the guys who are on this team, they're not going to go quietly because they gave everybody on that road trip all they could handle.
Well, I'll tell you what they did do. They left here not hitting with runners in scoring position. They did that a couple of times on the road trip. They got some good starting pitching. The bullpen was very good at times. And I'll tell you what it does, it's a winning road trip for the Indians. When you look at that trip, all things considered, they were 4-3 when you go to Toronto and Boston. I think that's good. One-run records, 3-0. Chris Perez was outstanding and has been coming out of the bullpen. The team ERA was under 4. And, of course, we had 6 players recalled from Columbus, the trades and everything going on. 3 people hurt. A lot went on, so when you can go 4-3 on the road, you did your job.
28 straight games for the Indians against teams above 500, and now 3 more this weekend against the Minnesota Twins, who are just a game and a half out of first in the AL Central, and the Indians are going to get a look at the Twins' best tonight. Francisco Liriano, 21 consecutive scoreless innings coming into this game tonight.
He's been pitching against the Indians almost like Johan Santana did years ago, but he is 3-0 this year against the Tribe, and he's been just about unbeatable. And when he's on his game, he's awfully tough. You can see a 3.18 ERA this year, 3-0 against the Tribe, going up against young Genmar Gomez, 2-0 this year. This start, he will have full 5 days rest, or his 4 days rest, pitching on his 5th day. So not to worry. We'll see what happens. Let's see what this young man can do.
All right, Indians ready to kick off Hall of Fame weekend here at Progressive Field. We'll have Kenny Lofton pay a visit to us in the booth during the ball game. Stay tuned for that and much more next on Sports Time Ohio.
This is how it's always been.
Is absolutely perfect as the Tribe takes the field, and the Minnesota Twins in town chasing the Chicago White Sox in the AL Central. Minnesota a game and a half off the pace. They are 2 games back in the loss column of Chicago. There's young Genmar Gomez on the hill for the Tribe tonight. And let's have a look at Ron Gardenhire's starting lineup for Minnesota. Denard Span will lead it off, left-handed bat, followed by the switch-hitting Alexi Casilla. Joe Mauer will DH tonight and bat third. Then Delman Young hitting cleanup in left. Jason Kubel in right. Michael Kadire at first. Danny Valencia at third. J.J. Hardy, the shortstop. And Drew Butera will do the catching.
Genmar Gomez, the starting pitcher tonight, brought to you by the Indians Team Shops, where you get 2 free Mez tickets when you spend $50 or more at any Indians Team Shop. He is making his 3rd start. His very first one came here on the 18th of July against the Tigers, where he went 7 innings. He gave up 5 hits, 2 runs, no earned runs, and he won that decision. He went back down to the minor leagues, came back up, started in Toronto, got his 2nd win. And that was on 3 days rest. So this young man is back at it again today. So we'll see what he can do against the Minnesota Twins, the #1 hitting offense average-wise in the league. Take a look at the Taco Bell Indians defensive lineup. It's Crow. Michael Brantley is back. He will be in center field. He'll be chewing right. It'll be Nix, Cabrera, Donald, Laporta. On the infield, behind the plate will be Lou Marson. And when you're making a choice for late night, Taco Bell is a late night place to be.
Home plate umpire Scott Berry calling the balls and strikes tonight. Jerry Davis at first, DJ Rayburn at second, and Greg Gibson down at third. Denard Span steps in to lead it off tonight for Minnesota. Batting .273 on the season. 3 home runs, 42 driven in. 18 stolen bases to lead the Twins. And Gomez fires a first pitch fastball for strike 1. Right back with the same pitch. Span watching it. Right down the pike, 0-2.
You know, that's the one thing these young kids have an opportunity to do, go out there and pound the strike zone like they have. Because these never faced the Twins before. They don't know anything about them yet.
A little bit off the plate.
Much like what Tomlin did last night. He had one little hiccup in an inning, and it cost him a ball game.
Just a bit inside. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes yet. Josh Tomlin said, I just had one stretch there where I just kind of lost it.
But that's it. And it was 2 walks before he gave up the home run. Then you almost had to challenge him. But, I mean, he pitched fine. He settled down after that. And for your first start in Fenway, you could live with that.
There's a slicer down the line, and it just does make it into the seats. Span back to the plate, where the count remains 2-2 as you see Josh Tomlin, the young right-hander. And, of course, Genmar Gomez trying to follow up the same thing that Tomlin did, where both pitchers made their major league debut. Both pitchers pitched extremely well. Both had to come back and pitch on short rest after that, and both did very well in those assignments. Boy, just missed outside in a full count. So Denard Span showing a good eye here at the plate to start the ball game tonight. And the payoff pitch is strike 3 called.
Well, he didn't miss on that one. He came right inside and got the call. He went right at him. Give him credit. The 3-2 pitch had him down in the count 0-2, and there's a good comeback fastball. Now, we showed you before, his ball has a little run back over the plate to it. And that's why left-handers, that first time facing him, they give up on it. They don't know that ball's going to tail back into the plate, and Denard Span will go back and tell the left-handers exactly that.
Alexei Casilla has stepped into the void when Orlando Hudson landed on the disabled list. 2 balls and no strikes. Now the 2-0. In for a strike. This is an example of where the Twins are definitely built with some depth. When you have a guy like Hudson who you sign, he goes down, and then Casilla, who was a starter at one point, steps right in. Bouncer to second base. Jason Donald throws him out 2 away. Brings up Joe Mauer, who recently received a cortisone shot in his ailing right shoulder. So I think they're trying to pick their spots. I mean, it's a long season, and with Justin Morneau already on the deal.
Right.
Ron Gardenhire wants to make sure that Joe Mauer is here for the long haul.
Well, sure, they would be better off if he could go out there and catch every day, but you're exactly right. You've got to give this guy his time off. You've got to keep him healthy. As a matter of fact, one of the strangest things ever happened the last time we were in Minnesota when he was struggling, when he bunted in the 7th inning with the game tied on 1st and 2nd with the go-ahead run on second base. It was the strangest thing I've ever seen.
1-0 pitch. Strike called. I think it definitely had Gardenhire perplexed as well, because after the game he simply said, you guys really ought to go ask Joe.
Right. Well, he had no comeback for it. He wants to win the game, and he doesn't care if he took 3 pitches down the middle. But you don't bunt.
That was outside.
Very strange.
But Mauer's reply to the reporters after the game, he said he just didn't feel right. Just didn't feel like he was swinging the bat well, and he felt like in that situation, just telling you what Mauer said, he felt he was better bunting the runners over and giving the guy behind him a chance. Boy, Gomez, he's not missing by much, but Mauer is getting all the benefit right now. 3-1.
They're close pitches. You're absolutely right. You got to take a look at them. They're
foul tipped into the glove. Full count.
You certainly hate to have to put that ball into a teacup when you're facing major league hitters, because eventually they'll get you.
The payoff pitch. Fastball in the air left field, and Trevor Crowe is there to make the grab. And the Minnesota Twins go 1, 2, 3. Indians coming to bat when we come back. Field. Michael Brantley is Drupal Cabrera, Shin-Soo Choo at the top for the Tribe. Then it's Shelley Duncan, Matt Laporta, and Jason Nix. Trevor Crowe, Jason Donald, and Lou Marson for the Tribe.
Francisco Lariano on the mound. And boy, has he been hot in the second half. He is 10-7 on the year, 150 punch-outs in 136 innings. He is 4-0 in his last 4 starts since the break, and a .63 earned run average, 21 consecutive scoreless inning streak going.
Down low to Brantley. Michael getting the call back from AAA when the Tribe put Jensen Lewis back down to Columbus. Slicing it foul just beyond the Tribe dugout. Manny Acta once again coaching at third tonight as Steve Smith serves the second of his 2-game suspension. Now the 1-2.
Yeah, Smitty's not allowed out on the field or dressed. He was had a fit yesterday. Had to work out in Boston. He said, I was done by about the third inning. Working out, and I had to sit and watch that game. And, you know, he's got a little too much energy to do that. Can't get in uniform, so.
2-2 grounded up the middle and into center field. A base hit for Brantley.
Let's check out the Twins defense. Brought to you by Huntington Bank. It is Young in left, Span in center, Kubel is in right. Valencia at third, Hardy at short, Casilla at second, Kadire is at first, Butera behind the plate. The Twins have the best defense in the league. They have made just 38 errors. And that is outstanding. They are rated number one. They have turned 100 double plays.
As Dribble Cabrera. Lines one fouled on the right side, out of play. Cabrera trying to snap an 0 for 8. Michael Brantley just snapped an 0 for 7.
Well, Cabrera with the day off yesterday in Boston. He didn't see any playing time.
And he goes right back through the box in back-to-back singles to start the night for the Indians.
There's a pretty good approach right there. Both guys going right back up the middle, staying short on him. Both base hits almost identical. This one right back over the mound. It almost cut the rubber in half, rolled into center field. So the Tribe starting out with back-to-back singles.
Here's our great clip of the game from yesterday, brought to you by Great Clips. Shin-Soo Choo with the only offense early for the Tribe, that solo home run. They would not score again until the 9th. Relax, you're at Great Clips. Choo with 14 home runs now on the year.
Yeah, this guy can be awfully tough on left-handed hitters. They're hitting a $189 off him. Coming into today, 37 strikeouts. He has only walked one left-hander all year. That's hard to believe, isn't it?
Choo with a bouncing ball to first. Kadire goes to second. They get one. The return throw not in time. So the erase is Dribble Cabrera on the force at second. Brantley goes to third, and Choo is at first on the fielder's choice.
Yeah, Santana just didn't get over to first base. There was no way they could turn it. And it's going to be a tough turn anyway with Choo running. He always hustles down the line. He always gives it his all, and he's going to beat it out regardless if Liriano was there or not. So men at the corners, so an opportunity now for Shelley Duncan.
Francisco Liriano has not allowed a run in 21 consecutive innings. With the Tribe threatening here in the first, with runners at the corners and one down, and Shelley Duncan climbs in.
Well, the way this guy's been pitching, you have to take advantage of opportunities. And here is one right now in the first inning. And the way he has pitched against the Indians this year, he is 3-0 against the Tribe.
I think the only time they scored on him was that one game in Minnesota.
I'm looking at it right now. They did. Yeah, he scored 3 runs.
Fouled
that
out
was
of play.
Back on May 2nd. And he threw 123 pitches in those 7 innings, which are most pitches in his career. But the other 2 starts, he went 8 innings at first start, 6 hits, no runs. In his last inning, 7 innings, 6 hits, no runs.
Now the 0-1 from Liriano in the dirt.
And this guy keeps the ball in the ballpark. He's only given up 2 home runs
that's
all year in 136 innings.
Some kind of impressive. 1-1 delivery. Duncan lines it down the right field line into the corner. Fair ball. That'll get home Brantley. Chu flying around third. He's going to be waved home. He will score. It's a 2-run double for Shelley Duncan. And the Indians jump on top 2-0, snapping Liriano's scoreless inning streak at 21.
Boy, they did that in a hurry, and Duncan did a great job of staying on the baseball. Taking it down the line. Continues that extra base hit streak for the Indians now. It is up to 59 consecutive games with this double. This is going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. And you have to love that, boy, taking advantage of this guy that's been hot. Right in the first inning. Not letting him settle in. That's the 3rd hit already, and the Tribe will take a 2-0 lead.
Matt Laporta with a runner at second now. Looks at a ball down low. You know, we think of Shelley Duncan as a guy who really likes to pull the ball and hit the ball to left field a lot, but there's a nice job of hitting.
And he did that, remember, last night against Papelbon to take the walk and bring that tying run to the dish. Remember on a 3-2 pitch?
Yep.
He didn't go after it. He stayed back on it, and if he can do that, that's... Boy, that just make you that much better of a hitter.
And that's just outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Shelley Duncan has 34 hits, and he's driven in 22 runs. And it's 3-0 for Matt Laporta. So, you know, it's interesting how the first inning is so often that inning that can be tough for a pitcher. You know, you're trying to get settled in, and yet the Indians have now gone 9 straight games without allowing a first inning run. Well, and Laporta draws a 4-pitch walk.
You see a lot of different things over the course of a year.
Here comes Rick Anderson, the Twins pitching coach, out to talk with Liriano. This is a guy who has been flat out dominant since the Detroit Tigers knocked the stuffing out of him about 4 or 5 starts ago. He had a game on July the 9th at Comerica where he lasted an inning and 2/3, gave up 7 runs. He hasn't lost since then and has allowed a total of 2 runs since that start, covering 4 starts into tonight's action. But the Indians have put up a 2 spot here in the first.
Well, and coming into this game, the Indians have been outscored 65 to now 57 in the first inning. So anytime you get an opportunity to jump on these guys, you do it early.
But, you know, we've noticed they've done a much better job of that over, I'd say, the last month.
Absolutely.
Going around about the All-Star break. They've been a better team early in games offensively.
Yeah, they had early in the year quite a streak of always playing catch-up.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do, and you know, it puts more pressure on your offense. They've been doing it the opposite. They've been trying to score first and let their pitchers settle in, and they score later on when they have to, and it's made a difference for them.
Well, here's an example of that too, Rick. The last time Minnesota was in Cleveland was April 30th, May 1st, May 2nd. 3-game series. In that series, the Twins scored 2 runs in the first inning of all 3 games.
That's right. I remember that.
And that's where they were in that stretch where it just seemed like every game you're down 2-3 runs right out of the gate. Nix fouls it over towards Gardenhire and almost knocked the Twins manager.
I'll tell you, if that netting wasn't there, he's got it right in his boiler. He would have got him. I mean to tell you, it would have hit him square. You know, those are things that have only been around, 5 years maybe? You know, that railing that they put up there, the netting in front of the dugout, or more than that.
That's funny you asked that, because that's one of those things. It seems like they've been there forever, but I know they haven't. Nix a base hit to right field. Duncan coming around third. He's going to be waved. Now stop. Acta put the stop sign on late. So the skipper was waving him, and then About a fourth of the way down the third base line with a full head of steam. Shelley Duncan had to slam on the brakes and go back.
And he's going to go say, way to go, kid. And you know what? Sometimes as a third base coach, and Manny, this is only the second time he's been out there, for goodness sakes, he had to wait as long as he possibly could. And Kubel in right field, he wants to take a chance if he can. But it was an easy one-hopper, so he has to put the brakes on late. It's a good one-hop throw. Now hold it. That's okay. Shelley picks him up in plenty of time. You see how far he rounded the base? That goes to show you that if you hustle and you expect to score, you still have time to get back if they make the throw. And it was a good throw. So a good job holding him up by Skipper Acta. And he's finally getting some lubricant on that arm to wave him around.
It's a swing and a miss by Trevor Crow.
Smitty, your 2 days are going to come to a rest, pal, after tonight. He might be in the skipper's office looking for some money to pay that fine.
Shelley Duncan, the runner at third. Bases loaded for the Tribe here. One out in the first inning, and Crow a big chopper towards short. Hardy goes to second for one. The relay not in time, and the Indians pick up another run. It's 3-0. Crow's 27th run batted in on the year, as he had to fly down the line to try and beat out that double play ball.
That's okay. Get down the line. He runs well. That ball not hit right at him. It had a little more hang time to it. Enough time from him from the right side to beat it out. Crow will get his 27th ribby. The Indian will score their third run. Put your head down and go. There you go. Beats it out.
That'll bring up Jason Donald. So the Indians have sent 8 men to the plate here in the first inning against Francisco Liriano. Tribe breaking on top early, 3-0. Jason Donald, just 5 hits in his last 28 at-bats. Big swing and a miss, 0-1 to count. Ron Gardenhire, his team comes in tonight 61-48. Front-running White Sox 62-46. Each team has won their last 2. The Indians, meanwhile, enter play tonight a half game in back of Kansas City for 4th place in the American League Central Division. The Royals are out on the West Coast. They'll be at Oakland later tonight. New York has jumped on top of Boston 2-1 in that big showdown in the Bronx. They're in the first inning in the Big Apple as Donald sends one foul wide of the bag at first. Angels already on top of Detroit 2-0 in the second inning at Comerica. Tigers started play tonight. 9 games out of first. Matt Laporta, the runner at third. Trevor Crow is down at first. And now time called as Drew Butera wants to go out and talk with Liriano. Baltimore is out in front of the White Sox early, 1-0 in the second. Buck Showalter.
They're hot.
Is
3
unbeaten.
straight. They beat the Angels, swept them. Well, what I like about this first inning for the Indians, they have 4 hits. 2 have gone right up the middle, both the Brantley and Cabrera, and the other 2 have gone the other way. They've stayed on him, not trying to pull him.
His 25th pitch of this first inning coming up right here. And he strikes out Donald to end the inning. But the Indians jump on top with a 3 spot here in the first. Shelley Duncan drives in a pair with his double in the right field. Play hard, eat fresh. By Continental Airlines. Work hard, fly right. And by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. Second inning here at Progressive Field. And I've got an update for fans who are curious as to how Carlos Santana's surgery went today. The young Indians catcher underwent surgery at the Cleveland Clinic, and we understand that Santana's lateral collateral ligament was repaired with an incision, and Dr. Rick Parker, who performed the procedure, found no other issues, no other problems in the knee joint, so that's very encouraging. And the release from the Indians says he is expected to be ready for the 2011 season. So, all things considered, that's very good news.
Yeah, about 3 days ago we were thinking, oh my goodness, no telling what's going to happen. But
yeah,
he'll spend a winter of rehab out in Arizona, I'm sure, at the Goodyear Complex.
A fan asked me earlier about Santana's status. Would he still be considered a rookie next year? And the answer is no. We looked it up. He's already had 150 at-bats. And
that is the cut. It's, what's it, 130?
130
yeah.
Is the cutoff.
That's what I thought. It's 130, or it's, what, 50 games?
Or 45 days of service
consecutive
time.
Service time.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. You don't want to win Rookie of the Year because it almost like hexes you. We'll be talking to a guy in a couple of innings that should have won the Rookie of the Year and did not.
And the guy who did, no one ever heard from him again.
Exactly.
Pat Listash and Bob Hamlin. It's unfortunate because it's not to knock any of the guys that have won it.
Not at all.
But historically, it seems like a lot of those guys that win that award do not go on to greatness. The payoff pitch, grounded foul. Now, Sandy Alomar.
Some of them do. Yeah, absolutely.
Certainly had a heck of a career, but his career was one of those where he was dodging bullets all the time with regards to surgeries, and Sandy knows a thing or two about rehab and having to play through pain and coming back from things like that. I don't think Sandy ever had a reconstructive surgery.
He had, what did he have, about 8 or 9 surgeries?
He had a bunch of them. There's a drive into right center field. Delman Young sends it. One hops the wall. Chu grabs it. Fires it into second, but Delman Young with his 34th double of the year.
I'm going to tell you, Matt, this young man is a different ball player this year. I don't know what light went off or what he did in the offseason to get ready for this year, but he is swinging the bat like they thought he would when they made that trade. And, I mean, he stayed on the baseball. He's now hitting in the number 4 hole, and he is putting together some kind of season. 331. He's got 14 homers, 83 RBIs, and he gets his second inning started, as you mentioned, with his 34th double. You know, the first 2 years after that trade, all they talked about was Bartlett, and they were going with Garza. And, you know, of course, Delman Young struggled. But I'll tell you what, he's turned it around in this year with the Minnesota Twins, and he's doing it their way.
Jason Kubel, left-handed bat. Now, normally, this is a Twins lineup that would feature Jim Thome with a right-handed pitcher on the mound. But with Joe Mauer DHing to give him a day off from catching duties, that kind of eliminates the spot for Thome in the lineup.
Yes, it does. Well, I don't think that I saw Jimmy earlier. Don't think he doesn't want to play here. He loves to come out here and play anytime he gets an opportunity. This is the house he grew up in.
He's hit more home runs here than anywhere else. 184 of his career home runs right here at Progressive Field. So Jason Kubel with a runner at second. Nobody out here in the second inning. Tribe on top 3-0. And Genmar Gomez good pitch and didn't get the call.
I'll tell you, he's
Holy
made
mackerel.
some really good pitches here early. And, you know, this is the tough spot. He's been around the strike zone, but Minnesota, patient team, they know the strike zone well. Might have been a little low, and that might have been the way that Marson caught that ball. If you turn your glove around, it may look a little higher. And this Minnesota team, they are the best in the league with the runners in scoring position. 294 average. And they're always a clutch hitting team, it seems like. This is already the fourth full count for Gomez.
Gomez shaking off Marson a couple of times. Now he's ready. And the 3-2 pitch is strike three called. Kubel can't believe it. Now he's upset.
Well,
And that did look high.
Well, that one looked high from where we're sitting. I agree with you. But let's see if it has some comeback. The other pitch he threw, I think it looked low because of the way Marson caught it. Let's look at this. Well, that's belt high. That may be a little high, but you know what?
I'm just looking at
Used to
where,
be a strike.
I know.
like that.
Just looking at where he caught it. It was just about eye level.
You mean where he sits?
Yeah.
When he's sitting in his crouch, you mean?
Uh-huh.
All right. They may not. Who knows? Maybe this umpire has a high strike zone. I like it.
Michael Kadire. Now, that looked...
Well, you can't tell. I mean, from where we sit and where the cameras are, so he's walking around, and they're going to tell everybody, look at it, had the plate. Let's see if it just stays consistent today. That's what you're looking for. But the good thing, you got the strikeout. The runner didn't advance.
There, Michael Kadire with 10 home runs, 25 doubles. And a strike is called. You know, one thing with these Twins hitters, I mean, this is only the sixth batter of the game, and he's thrown 32 pitches already.
Well, 4 full counts. She's deep to everybody. You know, that's what you say with young pitchers, the consistency.
Now, Lou Marson wants to go out, talk with Gomez here, maybe get a feel for what he's comfortable throwing in these situations. And that's too low. Kadire's a guy who can get on a roll. He had a 15-game hitting streak, snapped on July 31st. Ropes this one to third on one hop. Nix can look back young and throws out Kadire, 2 down.
Well, tomorrow night, all you fans, you want to come out and check out the history and tradition of Indians baseball. They're going to induct Kenny Lofton into the Hall of Fame, and also you're going to get a Kenny Lofton bobblehead for all fans attending. It's a 7:05 start. They'd like you in your seats about 6:40. If you could get there, we will have, there's the big man right there. There's Kenny.
Kenny will be joining us
He
here
looks
in the
the
third
same,
inning.
doesn't he? You put a uniform on him, I guarantee he could still play.
Kenny was quite outspoken in a recent conversation with Dennis Maniloff of the Plain Dealer. He felt like baseball kind of shut him out. He wasn't ready to stop playing, but
well, I don't blame him. He helped us in 2007 down the stretch.
well, and as he pointed out, he said, I'm not a guy who cheated the game. All these guys that have been accused of this, that, and the other thing, they're still playing. And he said, why is it that I couldn't get a job back in 08? Danny Valencia takes a strike. Tell you what, this kid's come in and done a terrific job for the Twins. Oh, my. All the way to the backstop.
Well, nothing Marson could do there. That thing skipped about 5 feet out in front of the plate and went right on by.
You know what they'd say about that if we were in Chicago?
What's that?
Wild pitch. That guy that announces it in the press box.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't been there in a while. You're right.
Isn't that weird? It seems like we haven't been there.
We only go one more time. We've been there twice. We open up there. We end the season there. I'm trying to think of that guy's name. Not Rosen, is it? Or Rosenberg?
I'm not sure. 2-1 pitch. Missed again. 3 balls and a strike. And they are
Rosenberg is his
piling
name.
up here. 38 pitches, 19 balls, 19 strikes for Gomez.
He doesn't quite have it. Well, or let's put it this way. He doesn't have the command he had his first 2 starts. But he's got a chance to get out of this inning from the leadoff double if he can retire Valencia. And you're right, this kid has done a nice job for them.
Made his major league debut June 3rd at Seattle. Singled off Felix Hernandez for his first career hit.
Not a bad guy to get it off of.
3-2. Outside, he walked him. So the Twins have only had 2 base runners in this game. But Gomez has made 40 pitches already, 20 balls, 20 strikes. Tonight's achievement of the game is brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in us all. Kenny is the franchise all-time leader in stolen bags. I mean, you think about what he did, and I know the game has changed some, but 92, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 5 straight years, he stole 50 bases or more. And in 96, he set the all-time franchise record with 75.
Well, you talk about the igniter. This guy, when he got on, he could change the ball game. He could bunt his way on if he didn't hit it. He could steal a base. He could beat you defensively. He could hit a home run. There wasn't a way that guy couldn't beat you. It was a tremendous athlete. And will go down in playing in the best era of Indians baseball for quite some time, because, you know, in 95 when they won it, it was 40 years prior to that. Nobody remembers that. So these kids that are growing up in this Cleveland market, in the Cleveland area, I mean, that's the teams they have to remember right there. And that was a fun team to watch.
The 1-2 pitch.
I mean, just everything clicked right. Going from the old ballpark to here, he came over to Houston in a trade from Eddie Taubensee, and you know he went to University of Arizona for basketball. Played on a Final Four team. They didn't know if he was going to be a baseball player. Well,
bouncer to third. Nix will go across the diamond, and the inning is over. So Genmar Gomez bobbing and weaving his way through 2 scoreless innings. Tribe on top, 3-0. Indians out to the early 3-0 lead as we go to the second inning here at Progressive Field, bottom half of inning number 2. And Lou Marson, the only Indians batter who did not hit in the first inning, will lead it off. Tribe sent 8 men to the plate and they scored 3 runs. Genmar Gomez talking with Fausto Carmona on the bench. The 1-0 pitch, swing and a miss by Marson. And the count evens at 1-1. A couple of homers for Lou, 13 runs batted in, and of course his second home run came at Fenway Park on the first pitch he swung at since getting the call back from AAA.
Yeah, you gave that note, I believe it was yesterday, that Mike Lowell did it at a different position of, after so.
Well, it was, what was it? In the first pitch that they swung at after going 40 games without playing.
Right.
And it happened
Lowell
twice.
did it, hit a 2-run homer.
And it hadn't happened since 05.
Then this guy comes up in his first at-bat since getting
inning.
called up and hit the first pitch. Yeah, that was scary.
2-2 down low, full count. Well, it's not just Genmar Gomez tonight. Lariano's having his difficulties. The 3-2 is ball 4. That's already his second walk. And the Indians get their leadoff man aboard.
Well, what they did, I like in the first inning, you had a couple of, that pitch was up. But Michael Brantley goes right back up the middle. Then comes Cabrera. He goes right over and cuts that rubber in half. Then Shelley Duncan, the at-bat so far of the game for me, he stayed on that ball nicely and hit it down the line to score 2. And there you see Nix going the other way with a base hit. So up the middle the other way, it keeps him on his changeup. And he's trying to throw that slider down and in that he doesn't have a feel for right now. So he's struggling with his command. So both pitchers,
sprinting out to the mound.
Both pitchers having a little trouble with their command. But
if Drew Butera is seeing what you're seeing, and I have to imagine he is, do they change their attack?
Well, he's going to have to throw strikes. I mean, if he can't spot his fastball and his breaking ball and his changeup, he's got to start commanding the fastball is what he has to do. Everything comes off his fastball. That's for most pitchers. There it is right there.
Well, then that pitch was in, and it seemed like everything they've hit has been pitches away. Now, obviously, they've been up in the strike zone, so they've been able to take him to the opposite field. But does he counterattack when he sees him going away to try to go inside more?
Continue. Just throw strikes. It doesn't matter in or out. Right now,
chopper up the middle again. Another base hit. Marson hits the bag. He's going to go for 3. Span's throw is just offline.
Beautiful.
And that enables Brantley to hustle down to second base as well.
Lou Marson, good hustle. I said this in Boston. He made a play where he went from first to third on a ball that went off the glove of Beltre over there, and he hustled. And he goes to third base right there, and going first to third makes a huge difference with nobody out. And that enables Brantley to get to second base. So that's good hustle on Marson's part. And I still go back to that first time he was here when he was thrown out at the dish for not hustling all the way. And Smitty said to him, I'll tell you what, he hasn't taken anything for granted from that point on, and he learned from that mistake, and he's been very good at running the bases.
And now Asdrubal Cabrera singles into left field. Marson scores. Brantley stops at third. 4-0 Cleveland. Asdrubal Cabrera 2 for 2 already tonight. Brantley with a pair of hits is standing at third base.
Well, boy, this is like a different ball club, huh? They come right out there, and, he hasn't been throwing a lot of strikes. That looked like a changeup. And Cabrera kept his hands back, and Brantley a good job of base running, making it go through. Luke comes in to score. Cabrera the 11th RBI, and they already have 6 hits off this guy.
Shin-Soo Choo steps in. Looks at a ball down low. Well, Daisuke Matsuzaka really had him wrapped up last night. Now the 1-0. Nope, a toss to first instead, and Cabrera's back standing.
Liriano has given up the most hits he's ever given up to this year is 10. In his last 2 starts, he's given up 5 hits in 14 innings. He's already given up 6 here.
Glanced off the bat for a foul ball, 1-1. Breeze blowing out toward right and right center. Chu cuts and misses. Boy, he had a good rip, but that was a 96-mile-an-hour heater.
Well, Chu, one of the young Indians that love to hit in this ballpark. Not many of them do, but he does.
The 1-2 pitch. Check swing tapper, and that's going to stay foul. That's always a tough stat to figure out, why certain players will hit better on the road than at home. You would understand you hit well at home and maybe you struggle on the road.
Comfort zone, maybe.
But it's harder to figure out when it's inverse, when you don't hit at home but you hit well on the road.
Maybe you don't like your ballpark to hit in, and you like some of the other ballparks.
Chu strikes out. He went too far. Second K for Liriano, 1 down here in the second.
Well, there you go. That's that vicious slider, and Chu couldn't stay back on it. And that's just what Liriano needed, was a strikeout. Keep him at third base now when gets the first out of the inning.
Toss to first, and again, there's Drupal Cabrera back standing. .40 pitches now for Liriano, and a good changeup there. Had Duncan out in front.
Well, you see, he didn't give in and give him the fastball early, knowing that Shelley loves the fastball. Took advantage of that aggressiveness.
Already the 5th at bat for the Indians tonight with a runner at third and less than 2 out. They're 2 for 4 so far. And he couldn't hold up again. Now
I love that.
Cabrera
Good
breaks
hustle.
for second and easily gets in there with a head first slide.
Good hustle to take the double play out of that ball. They see he had to look the guy back at third base before he could go right to second. And watch the catcher peek down at third before he can throw to second base. And then by that time he says, nah, I better not. Don't want to throw it away. Don't want to make a bad play. And you take the double play out of order.
Now the Twins bring the infield partway in. And the 2-strike pitch is bounced in there. Butera blocks it nicely. And the runners have to hold.
Well, this is a good job. He saved a run. Francisco Liriano just threw his 9th wild pitch, allowing Cabrera to go to second. And that kid right there did a good job of saving a run.
Meanwhile, Shelley Duncan trying to drive in 2 more here. But he strikes out instead, and that's 3 for Liriano, 2 down. All right, it's time now for the AT&T trivia question. AT&T Rethink Possible. 3 center fielders in Indians history have played in 1,000 games and stolen 100 bases. Here is Matt Laporta, who walked his first time up. And a strike over the outside edge. Swung on and missed.
Boy, if he can, I'll tell you what, get out of this, just giving up that one run, that would be a really good job by Liriano of settling in. The Indians had a chance to really do some more damage.
You play 1,000 games in center field? I know you bounced around a little bit in left and in center. I think you're on that list. Here's the 0-2 to Laporta. Checked his swing and just missed. Four nothing Cleveland. The Indians got 3 in the first. One more here in the second, but they've got second and third with 2 down. And it's in the dirt, 2-2. Matt Laporta trying to make this a really big inning for the Tribe. And he lays off again. So a good AB for the young first baseman, who is 0 for his last 5 coming in. Ron Gardenhire a tad concerned with Liriano's struggles here in the early going. This is his 50th pitch already, and Laporta fouls it off.
Well, a base hit here would be huge.
Ooh. You've got Brantley at third and Cabrera at second with 2 down. And on the 3-2, it swung on and missed. So Liriano strikes out 3 in the inning, but the Indians tack on another run, lead it 4-zip through 2. Later in the game, and C.R. Miller tastes great in this moment. It's a 4-0 Indians lead as we move to the third inning. Drew Butera, Denard Span, Alexi Casilla due up for Minnesota. Through the first 2, Janmar Gomez has made 45 pitches. Francisco Liriano has made 51. So both guys piling up a ton of tosses here in the early going.
Yeah, the good thing, though, is that Gomez has put 2 zeros on the board. And after this hitter, they'll be rolling over through that lineup for the second time.
Up high. 3 balls, no strikes.
Now, this is where, as the young man, you just have to slow it down. Sometimes you get in a hurry and you try and rush things out there and you try and do too much too quickly.
Drew Butera, son of former big league catcher Sal Butera. Big bouncing ball wide of third. Now the payoff pitch. And there's a line drive base hit in the left center field. Crow over to cut it off. And Butera has a leadoff single for Minnesota.
It's all right. You come back and make them hit their way on.
Here's our Subway fresh face of the game. Subway, play hard, eat fresh. Giovanni Soto came over from the Indians from the Detroit Tigers in the Johnny Peralta deal. Last night, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run. Subway, play hard, eat fresh. Tampa, Florida native Denard Span steps in. Span called out on strikes his first time up. And he rifles that down the right field line. Into the corner it goes. Butera on his way to third. And into second with a double is Denard Span. Well, Twins at second and third with nobody out here in inning number 3 for Alexi Casilla.
Yeah, I was going to see what happens this second time around. There's that fastball middle end to hit, and he turns on it. Span very quick in there. Short, quick to the baseball, drills it down into the corner. His 16th double. Now back come the Twins, off to a good start here in the third inning.
Alexi Casilla goes after the first pitch and fouls it away. Alexi Casilla originally signed out of the Dominican Republic with the Angels back in 2003. Made his big league debut with the Twins back in 2006. Popped up foul, back out of play. One thing the Twins have tried to work on with Casilla over the years is getting him to cut down on that swing, especially when he gets ahead in counts.
Yeah. They sent him 2 years ago. Look at that. That's going to be a...
Nix just does throw him out. He had enough time barely to make sure Butera wasn't going anywhere, and then rifles it over to retire Casilla for out number 1.
Well, that's it. You can't go. You're down 4-0 at third. There's nobody out. You've got Mauer on deck, so you got to make sure the ball goes through. So Nix just goes back. You may want to quicken that up next time with Casilla because he just did get him.
And now Joe Mauer, who flied to left his first time up. Pretty safe to assume he will not be bunting in this situation.
If he does, I'm leaving the booth.
You'd say you're done, huh? That's it.
I've seen enough.
Mauer's hit in his last 4 games.
We'll talk about that 20 years from now, Matt, and say, do you remember?
Do you remember that? Outside 1-1. Yeah, and I don't bring this up to, hey, let's gang up on Joe Mauer, but I look at him as one of the elite hitters in the game, and I'm thinking of going back in time, elite hitters of the past. I just don't think they would have said, not feeling that good, I'll bunt here.
MVP, Joe Mauer.
Dude, I won the MVP.
Might have been loud in Mexico. And, I mean, 3-time batting champ. Yeah, it was strange. He's a great player. And you never know, and only he can tell you. But right now, as you mentioned earlier, the guy with the ailing shoulder. That's why he's DHing tonight.
Second and third for the Twins. One out on the 1-2 pitch. And he lifts it to left field. Crow closing, makes the catch. Tagging coming home is Butera. Here's the throw to the plate.
Oh, it hit him.
Oh, a bad break for the Tribe right there. Gomez backs it up.
He would have had him.
Goes down to third on the play. I think you're right. That was a pretty good throw. It looked like it was on line, but it literally hit Butera in the backside.
You know what? That's where I think a team error should be made in baseball. But Crow gets over there, and he's going to get into left field. He's going to settle down and make a strong throw. But now the guy's tagging up, so he's going right down the line. And that ball, maybe, if it doesn't hit him, I think if it's a true one-hop, let me get a good look at this. He may have short-hopped him a little bit. There it is.
Oh, no, I think that'd have been a perfect hop.
Well, it looked like it. It looked like it, but if it doesn't hit him, he might have had him at home plate.
Yep. So the Twins are on the board, 4-1.
But
Mauer
now,
with his 58th run batted in.
You have to give him an error as well.
That allows the runner to go to third. Nix had to pull him off the bag. A great job by Laporta to not only make the catch, but apply the tag to the dome of Delman Young. The inning is over. Twins on the board. Middle of the third, 4-1 Cleveland. Minnesota Twins, Jason Nix, Trevor Crow, and Jason Donald. Lariano looks. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Now the delivery, and it's down low, 2 balls and a strike. I know I mentioned earlier we'd have Kenny Lofton in the 3rd inning. He's been detained, so we're efforting to get him here.
We just got blown off again. Just say it.
We're the Rodney Dangerfield guy around here, aren't we? Swing and a miss by Nix.
I'm not going to do TV. Screw those guys.
No, he'll be here shortly. Jason Nix, a base hit in his first at bat. Indians had 4 hits in the first, 2 hits in the second, and they lead it 4-1.
This is not starting out to be a typical Minnesota-Cleveland game. You know what I'm talking about? Usually these games have a much different rhythm to them. You know, Minnesota, normally they're a pitching style-oriented kind of team where their pitchers go out and throw strikes. But tonight both guys have been around the strike zone, and it's really been at a bad tempo for both teams.
Looks like the strike zones have been a little on the small side. Pitch counts are piling up for both guys. 2-2. Make that, full count. And the payoff pitch is lined right back up the middle.
The middle.
That is that the 4th time they've done that today?
That's the 3rd time.
Well, Brantley's had 2 up the middle. Cabrera had 1 up the middle, so that's 4. I think that's 4 now.
That's right. That's right. Brantley did have 2 up there.
So they've had a good approach against Lariano thus far, and they lead it 4-1. Let's go back to the studios for a quick in-game update with Al Pawlowski.
All right, Matt, Rick, the White Sox are ahead of the Twins by a game and a half going into action tonight. Here's Gordon Beckham tying the game up with Baltimore, his 6th home run of the season. O's and Sox tied at 1, 5th inning. Back to you, Matt.
All right, thanks, Al. I saw something. I don't remember if it was in the paper or if it was on television. I think it was when we were on the plane last night. They had a graphic that if the Orioles go 54-0 the rest of the way, what everybody else has to do for them to make the playoffs in the East.
That's tough.
Just having some fun.
Well, they're off to a good start.
Yeah,
they're 3-0.
They're just having some fun with the start that Buck Showalter's off to.
Well, fun at their expense, but it's been a long year for them to this point.
The 1-1. Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Trevor with an RBI in the first inning. .60 pitches already for Francisco Liriano. And he misses way up high with that 3-1.
Yeah, when you think back about 4 years ago when the Twins had Johan Santana and this kid in '06 was coming up making his debut, almost a mirror image of a guy that had the hard slider, great changeup. You're thinking, boy, these Twins are going to be great for a long time. You know, and Brad Radke, I think he was still there then.
3-1 fouled back. Brad Radke was a strike-throwing machine. He could get knocked around and give up a lot of home runs.
Who cares?
You didn't have to worry about him walking guys.
Change up, 90-mile-an-hour guy. You know, a lot like, and he did it for quite some time. He was really fun to watch.
The 3-2 pitch, runner goes, and a little tapper foul. In fact, speaking of Brad Radke, Jim Thome hit 5 of his 500 and where's he at now? 577. Yeah, he hit 5 of his 577 career home runs off Brad Radke.
Seems like he's hit 5 off everybody.
Well, his number one victim, another former Twin, Rick Reed, hit 9 off of him.
Oh, I remember him. And he didn't play in this league that long.
There's a blooper toward the second baseman, Casilla, who will make the catch for out number 1. Browns Training Camp Daily continues tonight at 11 on STO. Join Jim Donovan, Mary Kay Cabot, and Andre Knott as they provide updates from the practice field. Training Camp Daily tonight at 11 only on STO. You know who's number 2 on Thome's
Well, let
list?
me think after Rick Reed. Somebody from Detroit.
No, that guy's number 3. And number 4 is another former Twin. The set by Liriano. And the pitch is outside 2-0. Roger Clemens is number 2. He hit 8 off the rocket.
Wow.
Number 3 is Justin Verlander, who hasn't even been around that long, but he's hit 7 off of him. And then Eric Milton, the former Twin, along with Mike Mussina and Bobby Witt, all served up 6. An inning-ending double play ball off the bat of Jason Donald. 3 in the books from Progressive Field. It's Cleveland 4, Minnesota 1. Lead the Twins 4-1. Jason Kubel, Michael Kadire, and Danny Valencia will bat for Minnesota here against Genmar Gomez. Been a struggle for both starters thus far, but where Liriano gave up the big inning in the first, Gomez has been able to get by so far with allowing just the 1 run, and that run was very close to being cut down at home plate. But the throw to the plate by Trevor Crowe nicked the runner, Drew Butera, and he was able to score because of that. Down low for ball 1. This scoreboard update is brought to you by Wendy's. You know when it's real. Wendy's. Jason Kubel looks at a ball down low, struck out his first time up. Three balls, no strikes. And this next pitch will be number 65 now for Gomez. Finds the zone. High fly ball, center field. Michael Brantley. He's got it, 1 down. I'm going to bring up Michael Kadire. You know, Rick, today, I'm thinking that tonight is probably the first night maybe since last Saturday now that the Indians are back to normal as far as their roster is concerned. With the call-up of Michael Brantley today, they sent Jensen Lewis back.
And so not the extra pitcher.
So they got the normal complement of bullpen guys and bench guys. And I mean, with the trades and the injuries, they had back-to-back guys going on short rest on that last road trip.
It was chaotic.
Extra bullpen guys to help out in the interim.
And you never knew what was going to go on either when that trade deadline approaches. I think everybody was on pins and needles or on call. They were like doctors. They were on call, man. Everything was ready to happen at the drop of a hat, and you just had to wait for it.
To their credit, players, coaches, manager alike, they all handled it very well.
Yeah, they sure did. They sure did. And, you know, Bart, who made the road trip, he had to be exhausted. He was writing out more sheets. And
here's a fly ball into right center field. Brantley cruising into the gap. He's got that one 2 down.
Well, Sunday's Kids Fun Day, and the WKYC Summer Sunday $3 offer. It's an adult ticket to watch the ball game here, and 2 tickets for kids 12 and under for just $3 a piece. And you can enjoy all the activities out on the plaza, and also run the bases after the ball game. That'll be Sunday.
Danny Valencia drew a walk his first time up. And a foul tip into the glove of Lou Marson.
So far, Gomez 7 out of 15 first pitch strikes.
Chopper foul. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 down here in the fourth. And a swing and a miss. Gomez strikes him out, and for the second time tonight, he retires the Twins 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the fourth. It's 4-1 Cleveland. Out of the bottom of the fourth here at Progressive Field. Lou Marson, Michael Brantley as Drupal Cabrera. Lou Marson will lead off for the second time tonight. He walked and scored in the second. Takes the first pitch strike from Francisco Liriano.
Well, every time tonight, when he walked, out of the 3 innings, he's only been out of the windup for those 3 hitters because they had the 2 hits and the walk to Marson. And ever since that point, he's been out of the stretch. That may be the key.
Oh, 2 pitch. There's a drive down the left field line, but he's out in front of it. Well, I'll tell you what, with Lou Marson, we talked about this before, Rick. You know, when early in the year, a lot of the balls that he hit were opposite field shots, but he jumped on that Josh Beckett fastball and hit it out for a home run over the Green Monster, and he's shown a little more aggressiveness with the bat here.
Well, remember when we were in Philadelphia, we were in interleague play, we had a moment to sit down and talk to Charlie Manuel, and he says, the first time I ever saw this guy play, he hit a ball in center field down in the Florida State League over the center field wall. And he said, whoa.
Yeah.
And he said after that point, he was watching him push everything to right field.
One down here in the home half of the 4th for Michael Brantley. He's 2 for 2 tonight, and both at bats, he has taken the ball right back up the middle for singles. He has scored a run.
Yeah, Michael 2 for 2, and not an easy at-bat against a left-handed pitcher, boy, because as I mentioned, coming into the ball game, left-hander's hitting just a $189, and he's 2 for 2.
Brantley looks at a ball inside. Now, it's worth repeating. We've talked about it, I know, a number of times, but this is the 29th straight game for the Indians against a team above 500. They've gone 14-14 during this stretch.
You know, and personally, I will tell you this. I was going, this could be a very tough stretch for them. I felt like, you know, if they didn't, you were facing 3 of the most patient teams in the league, and if their pitching didn't do what they were supposed to do, they've held their heads above water. They've done a nice job. They've been right at the 500 mark at 14-14. But that's what they're going to have to keep that intensity level up when you get back into playing the other teams. You know, because after, let's see, this series, we're off Monday. Baltimore comes in. You know, they're playing with a little more vinegar. So you're going to have to continue. We're going to get Kansas City.
Another chopper.
Run, baby.
The shortstop Hardy has it. The throw just got him. Close play, but Brantley is out number 2. Before tonight's ballgame, the ceremonial first pitch was thrown out by Robin Meade, former Miss Ohio and currently the host of Headline News Morning Express with Robin Meade. Ashland University graduate.
Ashland?
Right.
You're taking credit for that? You didn't go to Ashland University.
And the favorite news announcer of former Indians pitching coach Carl Willis, bar none.
Okay.
That's right. Oh, yeah, he was a big fan. Still is. And why wouldn't you be?
Well, I agree.
Started her career out at WMFD in Mansfield. Moved on to Columbus, Chicago, eventually on to...
She threw out the first pitch. How come we didn't have her up on the air with us? Being an Ashland...
Hey, well, remember what I said earlier about you and me being the Rodney Dangerfield? There's a reason
well,
why
I
she's
thought
not
you're
up
from
here.
Ashland. You might have a little bit of pull around here, huh, Rodney?
No. Yeah.
I mean, you're getting inducted into the Hall of Fame in Ashland this winter, aren't you? Aren't you?
Yeah, there she is. There's
she
Robin
is.
Meade.
All right, send her a note down. We're going to have to get a runner.
There's a pitch to Cabrera, and that's down low, ball 4. So Francisco Lariano, his troubles continue here tonight. Just has not been able to consistently put it together. That's 81 pitches now on the night.
She's got her Indians hat on and everything.
Oh, yeah. I remember we played an exhibition game a few years ago, one of those deals right before the start of the season in Atlanta. And she came over to Turner Field and hung out on the field, watched batting practice. Well, she's a diehard Indians fan.
Good for her.
And a strike to Chu, who struck out his last time up. Reached on a fielder's choice and scored in the first. There's the 0-1-2 and a foul down the left side. You have some announcements?
Yeah, I got to send out a happy birthday to our own Blair Rainey right here of Cleveland. She is turning 30 today. Blair, she works at STO. Wish you a happy birthday, and we know you're not watching, and we hope you're out partying. So please, happy birthday. Also, William Nussbaum turning 90. We just got this today, but it was a little earlier. It was back on July 15th. But sorry, William, you're a big Tribe fan, and happy birthday to you.
Special hello tonight to Army Specialist Matthew McCall, home from Afghanistan. He's here at the ball game tonight. Was down on the field during batting practice. Had a chance to meet some of the Indians players. So, special salute to Matthew McCall.
Take off. There you go.
Runner goes foul back.
0-2 count with Chu at the plate. Why not protect him? Try and steal a base. Get yourself in scoring position. And at times in that situation, if he doesn't throw to first base, you're thinking maybe he'll throw a breaking ball and it'd be the pitch to run on. He may throw to first base this time, though. Nope.
Swung on and missed. And the inning is over. 4 complete from Progressive Field. 4-1 Indians. Kenny Lofton joins us here in the booth when we come back. Fruit smoothies are now available in wild berry and strawberry banana flavors. By KeyBank. Stop in and start a conversation and unlock your possibilities. And by Panini's. Now open in Chagrin Falls, Solon, and Brunswick. Visit paninisgrill.com. Back here at Progressive Field, 4-1 Indians on top as we go to the 5th inning. And due up here for Minnesota will be J.J. Hardy, Drew Butera, and Denard Span. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you, and we're happy to be joined now by Kenny Lofton, who tomorrow, before the ball game here at Progressive Field, will be inducted into the Cleveland Indians Hall of Fame. Great to see you again. Are you excited for this moment?
I'm pretty excited about it. Just having the opportunity to be a part of a great, Hall of Fame cast here, it's pretty exciting.
Well, you certainly deserved it, man. When we got you over, you were really one of the resurgence of this organization back in the 90s, moving into this ballpark when it was Jacobs Field and playing with Sandy and Carlos and some of the guys. I'll tell you what, those were great days and great times.
It was pretty crazy. Coming from the old stadium to the new stadium, it was one of those things where it's like taking out the old, bringing in the new, and the guys kind of played it in that way, and it's something that you can't. It's like speechless talking about it.
Right. The timing couldn't have been any better. And you go to that old ballpark, but this ballpark you guys walked into, how great was it? 95 team, the wins, the 18 consecutive wins here throughout the course of the year, home wins.
Coming from the old stadium and coming to the new stadium, you just felt like it was it was refreshing to have something new, and the guys played that way.
Well, you know, you're talking about the wins and the numbers that team put up. You were the igniter. Sandy Alomar said the other night, I don't know how we got to talking about the 95, 96 Indians, but he said, you know, this is a team with Bell, Baerga, Ramirez, Tomey, Eddie Murray. But Sandy Alomar said Kenny Lofton is the guy that made that team go. He said we would not have been the same team without Kenny. And I know you don't like to pound your chest and talk about yourself a lot, but what did you bring to the table that made that club so special?
Well, I think I just let the guys know that I wanted to win every day and just wanted to go out there and I'm going to give my 110% every day. And the guys saw that. And Sandy always said, you know, Kenny, as you go, we go. So if I don't go, we don't go. So, I mean, hey, you know, what is that telling me? And I just felt good about that. I didn't mind putting people in my back and going forward. I don't mind carrying much low. I want to be the guy in the ninth inning to have the bat, you know, but most of the other guys did that and hit the home runs and won the game.
Yeah, but if you needed to get out and steal a base or go here or go there and a base hit here, and it was so much fun to watch.
Well, you know, it was a funny thing, you know Charlie Manuel always said, you know thyself.
Right.
And I just felt like, you know, that's what I did. And, you know, I went out there and did it. And I just felt, again, you know, all I got to do is go out there and do my part. And guys behind them, you know, behind me do their part. And it was a beautiful thing.
You know, did you have a chance to see Jim Tomey today or anybody like that? Did you talk to Sandy? I mean, there's guys still playing and around. And you mentioned Charlie Manuel. He was managed, you know, the World Series Phillies. And I mean, we run into guys that we see all year long. It's a lot of fun to see those guys, but they're spread out all over baseball. Manny's still playing.
I know. You know, we had a thing today with me and Sandy and Jimmy today with Bobby D, and it was.
You sat down and did a round table.
Yeah,
I can't wait
awesome.
to see that one.
It was awesome. We had some stories, and it was fun.
Yeah, look for that on Sports Time Ohio coming up. I'm sure they'll be having that
the round
on the air
tables
soon.
that I'm sure you people have seen in the past. This ought to be a dandy. Have you talked or heard anything about Albert recently? I know he's out in Arizona because I spend the winters there. Have you seen him or talked to him?
Well, the last time I heard, you know, Albert had I think he had hip surgery.
Right.
But after that, I haven't heard anything else. And you know, Albert's been hiding somewhere.
I know.
Found
Well,
him.
he never could run, so we don't worry about his hip surgery. We want to get him out of the golf course.
Exactly. Oh yeah, he loves golf.
Yes, he does.
1-1 pitch is fouled away. Defensively, Kenny, 4 Gold Gloves in an Indians uniform, and there's that one catch that you made in center field that I don't think anybody who ever saw it, whether they were here or saw it on TV later, will ever forget. Is that a catch? Is that a highlight that you think of when you think of yourself in an Indians uniform?
Yeah, you know, one of them. It was especially in the outfield. I just felt like it was one of those balls in which I go hard all the time and expecting to go out there and try to go as far as you can until you can't get it. And that's what happened. I went as far as I can to see if I can get it, and I end up reaching back as far as I can and catching it.
We'll take a look at it when we come back. We'll talk more with Indians Hall of Fame inductee Kenny Lofton straight ahead. With a 4-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the fifth. Shelley Duncan, Matt Laporta, and Jason Nix due up for the Tribe. And, of course, you had 3 separate stints with the Indians. You were gone 1 year in 97, came right back. And then you were gone for several years and came back a third time for that magical run in 07. And we were just in Boston. So we just had a 4-game series there. And you know how many balls we saw hit down the left field line and hit that wall and kicked out in the left field? And I thought about you every single time.
Wow, I think about that play, and I'm like, what was going on behind me? I had no clue. None.
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
Well, I mean, and you know what, Kenny? I leave it to me to bring up the sore spot in your career. But I mean, you how many times you were so close? 95, you're right there in the World Series. You know, in 02 with the Giants, you had the lead. With the series lead, everything's right there for you. In 07, you know, so close. Does that in any way leave a bitter taste in your mouth when you think of your career?
Well, I think, you know, not having a championship, that kind of leaves a real soft spot because I felt I went out there and did all I can do to try to make that happen, and it didn't happen. And you just try to think back and say, where did I go wrong? And I don't want to beat myself up that way, thinking that way, because I did all I can do.
Well, yeah, and I mean, there were teams. Every team wanted you every year. You were like a hired gun. Let's bring Kenny on, man. We're going to the playoffs, and we need that spark plug. We got to get him on board. I mean, you were fortunate enough to play in a lot of postseason ball games.
Yeah, I mean,
I played on a team. I'd never made the playoffs, man. We were looking. I know it. So I mean, you talk about depressing.
But it's like during that time of the year, that's the time that I enjoyed.
Absolutely,
I loved it. And I had a lot of opportunity. I played in a lot of LCS League Championship Series, and a lot of them I didn't get to the World Series, but I was right there. And just the opportunity to get to the World Series, it's something that young kids don't understand how important it is, and it's tough to get there.
Yes, it is.
It's tough.
And you like to perform with the bright lights, man. That's the only time to do it, isn't it? When the lights are on.
It's time to shine.
That 1995 ALCS, and, of course, the clinching game in the Kingdome. No Indians fan will ever forget Randy Johnson throws the ball back to the backstop, and the next thing you know, 1 run scores, and then before he can turn around, you come sliding in for a second run.
That's after stealing second base.
Yeah, it was they had no clue.
But you knew you were going to score from second, didn't you? You took off.
I just, because me, I go hard, and I was going around the base because anything can happen. The ball can kick a different way. And once I touched third, I look up, and Randy had his head turned, and Dan Wilson was kind of going slow to the ball, and I just my instincts took over, and I just kept going.
Kicked it down in. Now, I love that, but I'll tell you what, there was nothing better than the catch for me. Because I was a center fielder, and I'm going to tell you something. They talk about the catch Willie Mays made in that series, in the 54 series. That was great at the time in the playoffs. But, I mean, this is a regular season game here. B.J. Surhoff probably still hates you to this day.
I was just going to ask you, did he ever bring that up when you crossed his
path? Let's take a look at it. This is the greatest catch I've ever seen. I mean, the timing and everything right there, you can't get any higher. That, to me, is the best right there. Love that. And that's that bobblehead they're going to give away tomorrow for you. But, I mean, B.J. Surhoff is so upset with you. And, I mean, to come down, did you know you had it all? Did you know it was in there?
Yeah, actually I did. And I was trying to hold on to it. I was making sure I didn't drop it. And I came in and I threw it in. And
it's the best catch I've ever seen. That Mays catch in 54, I can't hold a candle to that one. That's up over the fence.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that Japanese guy.
I saw that the other night. Not that good.
He jumped up and stood on top
of
the fence.
His fence is shorter. They had shorter fences, man.
Exactly. The little guys over there.
That's right. Little guys in short fences.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And the thing about it, that ball wouldn't have been out of the ballpark. That was the funny part. Caught it by his hip.
There you go. You see that? We all noticed that, Matt. You got to have a good eye.
Yeah.
I read the story in the paper recently where you talked to Dennis Maniloff, and he was asking you about different things, and he asked you about Mike Hargrove, and he said you sort of chuckled. You said he had a tough job. Is that because of the personalities and all the different people that were in that clubhouse at that time?
Yeah, it was. It was one of those things that, he had 25 guys out there, and all of us was different. And I think he had to figure out how to manage that. But I think the smartest thing he did is pretty much just gave us our time before and after the game. But during the game, it was his time. And I think he recognized that early on. He's like, these guys are something else. These guys are crazy. So he just pretty much said, you know what, let these guys feel like they're at home in the clubhouse. But on the field, it's, he takes over. But, once he understood that, I mean, we had a perfect thing going.
Well, I'll never forget going into those clubhouses after wins here, and that music would be blaring, and somebody else would be turning the station or putting in another CD.
Was it Montel
Jordan.
Montel Jordan. This is how we do it.
Yeah.
Every single game.
Hey, I'm telling you, you walk in there, that's what it was all about. I mean, that's what winning's all about. That's what, for that team it worked because you had veterans with Eddie and Dennis Martinez and guys like that came in here, and you had some young kids coming up and guys that were great players. That, to me, is one of the better times around here in a long, long time.
But it was funny because, Alsamacher was, he's a veteran guy, and he was kind of quiet. And after a while, he was getting upset when the music wasn't going on. I'm like, wow, he was singing, this is how we do it. And if Alsamacher's singing, this is how we do it.
And then you know something's wrong.
You know something's going special for him to do it.
Well, he was the hired gun to get Griffey out every time up, or Mo Vaughn every time in playoff games and situations. And that was a tough job in his own right.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, like I always telling people, we all did our job. And I think that's the one thing about that team. We understood, what we all had to do, and we did our job, and things just worked because, I did my job getting on, and Omar Jet did his job as getting me in, and then the next guys behind them, did their job, and then the next inning after that, you got Tommy and Manny getting on, and then the guys behind them get them in. It was like a locomotive had the right things going on.
Any one game that stick out, something that's special that you'll never forget, just one game? Because I know there were so many of them over the course of the year, but maybe just one game that you remember when Albert hit one into the barbecue and you come back on a win, or any time in a 95 season that you can remember that sticks out?
Wow, a whole lot of them stick out, but I think when we faced Anaheim, Percival, the guys hit the home. I think Albert hit one first or something. I don't know. It
three
was
in a row?
Yeah, three in a row. Whatever. Sandy.
It was a Sunday night baseball game.
Maybe?
Jim Thome, Sandy, and Albert.
And Albert.
Yes,
it's like, wow. It's like you see it and you're like, man, this is something special around here. And we did it a few times. We did it against Eckersley.
Uh-huh.
I think Manny hit a home run against Eckersley to win the game. And Eckersley was like, wow.
Yeah,
what's going on?
Right. That's what's going on here.
So, yeah, it was fun.
The one memory that I have that really sticks out is after you guys beat Seattle, we all flew back. Rick and I flew back on the team plane. We get on the buses to pull out of the tarmac, and it had to be 4:00 in the morning. It might have been later than that. And all of a sudden, the bus turns a corner, and it's a sea of people.
Yeah.
And I remember, I thought you were standing on the front of the bus with the trophy, and people just went bananas when they saw you holding that trophy.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Swing and a miss, Jason Donald. 2 balls and a strike with 2 on and 2 out.
Did you ever think about getting back into baseball any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, I want to slowly get back into it eventually, and just to figure out understanding, trying to teach the young kids the game the right way, because a lot of them don't understand it. I guess a lot of them come up too quick. They get paid a lot of money early,
right?
And they come to the game not knowing the game, and a lot of them going to understand how the game is played. And I think the game is all about adjustments, and a lot of these guys, they have one good year here, another good year, and then all of a sudden they don't know how to adjust, because pitchers are going to always make adjustments to hitters, and hitters have to do the same. But I think a lot of them don't understand that.
Yeah, it takes a while, because when you're good, their teams are going to get better, and they'll do certain things to you to combat that.
Full count. Well, not only that, but the scouting reports now are just, they're going to find your weakness one way or the other, and everybody's going to know about it.
Exactly. So when you find someone, when there's a weakness, you got to find out how to change that. And I think a lot of kids think, they're not going to do this, they're not going to do that. If they keep throwing you inside, you learn how to enter inside pitch. And I've learned that early in my career. I started hitting a few home runs, and those guys like, okay, let's throw it back away.
Yeah,
let's get the little base hit.
And then you could do whatever you wanted.
Runners go, 3-2 pitch, it's fouled away.
They don't bunt like they used to. Guys don't want it because they want this home run thing. Everybody want to hit the home run.
You get paid for the home runs and the RBIs. That's what they think now.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what you get paid for.
Well, that's going to change.
Well, it is. The game has changed. In that steroid era, there's not guys hitting them anymore.
Exactly.
You got to be a complete player. You got to learn how to run the bases, steal the bases, bunt the baseball, play defense, throw.
Exactly.
And, there's a lot of outfielders now that can't throw that used to.
You're right. You're right. So the game has changed. It's going to get back into speed again, and that's to understand that the home run era is pretty much on its way out, and get back to the basics of the game. That's why,
a beautiful thing.
It's sad to say, like 97, I guess when the Yankees played against the Marlins, and the Marlins, won the World Series.
Right.
It was because of the speed in small ball. Just, the long ball is not going to always happen. If you have the best pitchers out in the mound, they're not going to give you the long ball to hit. So you need to find another way to win the game, and that's why Florida won it, against the Yankees.
The 3-2 pitch, the runners go. It's high, ball 4, and the bases are loaded with 2 down. Here in the 5th inning, Indians on top 4-1, and Ron Gardenhire is going to make a move, I do believe. He's already called for a reliever out of the bullpen, and we'll just keep it right here. That's always kind of been, at least my interpretation, is it's always been a little bit of a burr in your saddle, is that baseball promoted the home run ball and celebrated the home run ball, and yet you said, hey, here I am doing it the right way. I'm not putting junk in my body. And yet, after the 2007 season, nobody rang your phone.
It was sad because I kind of was very upset with the game of baseball, knowing that I was, I hit almost 290 something, during that year. Then the playoffs hit over 300 and something.
Right.
And that next year, people were trying to tell me to come to camp and try to make a team.
Right.
And I was kind of in awe, why the game is turning out to be this way. And again, it's all about, I wasn't the guy who was hitting the home runs and putting their RBI numbers up there. And there was a reason why the home runs were going out the ballpark for some guys. And normally,
exactly.
it didn't go that way, So I just felt like, why? I'm out here doing it the right way. I'm you need guys to get on base and do what I did, but they didn't care about that.
Yeah, and it does. It hurts your feelings. I remember back in the 80s, the late 80s, mid-80s to 90, there was collusion. Yeah. Where the owners ended up doing it. It was the same thing. They were going with younger players to save less money, and they didn't want to give guys that had 10 years or so in the big leagues, job because it would cost them more money. And, I mean, it is. It's a bad feeling when you've earned your right and you played so many years in the big leagues and you could still play. Mm-hmm. You're just not offered a job. It is not right.
Yeah, exactly. And again, in the game, it's not right. The game is not having a real punishment in the game for the guys. It's like, you pretty much get a slap on the hand.
You turn your face and you ignore it.
And you get a slap on your hand, and all of a sudden I just feel that the real numbers that the Hank Aaron the guys put up should stand.
Right.
The rest of the guys, it shouldn't even be in the record. It shouldn't even be a part of the record books.
Well, let me ask you, because we were asked a number of times by people about Alex Rodriguez. He was here, for 4 games, didn't get the 600th home run. But there was no buzz. There was no
excitement.
Was no celebratory atmosphere. What was your take on that 600 home run?
I mean, basically, it wasn't a true 600. It was a case where the person that cheated, they admitted they cheated, and you can't celebrate that. You can't even celebrate that kind of stuff. If that's the case, you can celebrate Pete Rose. If that's the case, if you're going to celebrate people like that, in which the numbers were put up by Pete Rose. He put the numbers up. Mm-hmm. The bottom line, he put the numbers up.
4,000 hits plus.
He put the numbers up. He didn't. It wasn't like he was getting caught for, putting stuff in his body to get the numbers.
Right.
I mean, he did some bad stuff afterwards. Yes, that was wrong. But
he's getting seriously punished for it too.
Well, he'll never get in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. But now you got a guy who admitted that he cheated, and you still acting like, you're treating him like he's God. Still, you can't do that.
Bases loaded for the Tribe here. 2 down, 0-1 pitch in for a strike.
You cannot have a double standard. I agree with that. But now, you get into the whole, I mean, we could talk about this for hours where you get into the whole spiel like, well, who's proven, how do you prove it, if they admit it, and how many games, and how can you go back? It's absolutely crazy, but I agree there should be some punishment of some kind.
Once you cheat, you cheat. And once you admit it, you have to look at the numbers. Your numbers are gone now.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Well, hey, enjoy your Hall of Fame induction tomorrow.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing it. Kenny Lofton with us here at Progressive Field. Tribe on top, 4-1. packs for $3.98 at any Northeast Ohio Mark's location.
So come into your nearest Mark's, where you'll find a huge selection at low prices every day.
Four-one Tribe as we go now to the sixth inning here at Progressive Field. Joe Mauer, Delman Young, and Jason Kubel. Our thanks to Kenny Lofton for stopping by.
Yes, indeed.
Tonight. That was fun catching up and kind of reliving some of the old days.
Well, I mean, we just don't have enough time. I would have loved to have been around that round table today with those three guys and just sitting and chipping in because, you know, those are great memories and great stories. And congratulations, and hope he has a great day. He will. We'll see it right here. We'll have our pregame show live.
Yeah, I hope you can make it down to the ballpark tomorrow to celebrate Kenny's induction into the Indians Hall of Fame. If you can't, we will carry the ceremonies on Indians warm-up tomorrow beginning at 6:30 p.m. But if you do have a ticket or you're going to come down for the ceremonies tomorrow, be in the park by 6:30. That's when the ceremony will get underway. And it's supposed to be a beautiful day tomorrow, so weather-wise we should be in great shape. So that'll be tomorrow night here at Progressive Field. Meanwhile, this young, scrappy Indian bunch on top 4-1 here in the seventh inning. Genmar Gomez, 86 pitches on the night. Activity in the Tribe bullpen. And it's outside.
When Gomez has had that count 0-1 and 0-2 8 times tonight, and they are 0 for 8. So that the young man has done, when he gets ahead in the count, has been able to do it. Another one coming right here. It's a little different animal here, though. Oh,
ooh,
no.
Man,
I'm sorry. Look at him
man.
look in. That's a strike. I'm sorry. You know, I know Joe Mauer's hitting, and you know, you get strike zones, but that's a strike. If this young man can't make a pitch right there on that part of the plate and get the call, then you got to let him hit it, and you hope he pops it up. That's a strike. But it's been like that for a long time. I remember when I first came up, guys like Carl Yastrzemski, I'd be standing on second base when Frank Robbins would be hitting. They'd throw balls right there down the middle. They call it a ball. You go, what are you kidding me? Yeah, to them, it's a ball. To you, you better swing. Well, even 2 feet outside for us, we had to swing until you get a name. Well, obviously, Joe Mauer's got it.
Now the 3-2. And that's ball 4. Adams struck out. But Scott Berry's inconsistent strike zone continues here tonight. And the Twins get a leadoff walk. Delman Young 1 for 2 with a double. Our 5-star league leaders brought to you by the GMC Sierra. Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job. Miguel Cabrera still with a comfortable lead in the RBI department. But A-Rod, Vladimir Guerrero, Jose Bautista, Delman Young all bunched closely together.
Yeah, Cabrera's a machine.
Tim Belcher out to talk with Genmar Gomez. Probably telling him, hey, don't worry about that.
Well, yeah, there's not much you can do. Just, hey, don't let that bother you. Go back and start throwing strikes. Got to send out a special hello to Barb and Logan Pfeiffer watching the ball game tonight. You know, there's not much you can tell a young kid there. He knows he threw a strike.
In the dirt for ball 1. swung on and missed to even the count. Delman Young doubled in the second inning, his 34th two-bagger of the year. Grounded to third to end the third inning. Bouncing ball towards third. Nix goes to second for one. And Donald upended, can't turn two. He had a little trouble getting it out of his glove. And once he did that, he was kind of stuck in midair with both hands wrapped around his glove. And
he's still getting used to making that turn at second base. He's the shortstop. And to come from that side, you see, you better have some quick feet and know when to go in front of the bag. And Mauer comes in. He's a big guy. That's just a good hard slide. He wasn't going to get rid of that ball anyway, but something that Jason's got to work on.
Is that where you want to come across the bag?
Yeah, you want to come across as fast as you can and get that ball and get out of the way of that guy sliding. There's times when you can go back. It's all part of that process. He's learning. That's a new position for him, so it's going to take him a while.
Kubo lines it foul down the left side.
That's one there where you catch it and get out of the way, and if you're not moving across the bag, because you don't want to get hurt.
Well, and the way Mauer went in there, and
that's the way everybody should go in there.
Exactly, I understand that, but the way he went in there, Dono could have very easily gotten his ankle rolled over.
Yeah,
I mean, he's lucky he got his foot out in time to where he didn't get hurt. And a strike called, 0-2. Genmar Gomez, 95 pitches on the night. 57 have been for strikes. And that's way outside. The roughest inning for Gomez tonight was that second when he had to make 28 pitches. And even in that inning, there were only two guys on base, but he had a lot of full counts. Line drive over the head of Donald. And stopping at second base is Delman Young, so 2 on. With 1 out for Michael Kadire. This recap brought to you by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. Shelley Duncan's 2-run double into the right field corner made it 2-zip Cleveland. And then Asdrubal Cabrera with an RBI single made it 4-zip Tribe in the second. Joe Mauer with a sacrifice fly. Crow almost threw him out at the plate, but the throw home hit the runner. And that's where we stand. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. We've got a timeout. This pitching change is brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Justin Germano on for the third time this year. And he'll be facing Michael Kadire with 2 on and 1 out in the 6th, and the Indians up 4-1. Gomez, I mean, it was one of those deals tonight where he didn't have his best stuff, but he didn't cave in.
Well,
he battled an inconsistent strike zone behind the plate. He didn't give in to that.
Well, the start to this inning came because he had a guy struck out, the leadoff hitter, Joe Mauer. And you know what? He battled. You know what? You're right. He bent. He didn't break. But he only went 4 1/3 innings, so it's a lot of innings to go for that bullpen.
5 1/3.
Excuse me, 5 1/3. I lost an inning with Kenny. I no sooner said that, and I heard someone yelling at me from the back.
Guess who it was?
Yeah, I know it. He hasn't seen me in a week.
He's angry, too. Whew. Hey, Frank, thanks for the peppers, though.
Frank is, that's very good, Frank. Thanks. It's that time of the year we get peppers from Frank Bochenik.
Yeah.
He gives Cooch some pickles. He gives Cooch the pickles. Cooch gets the pickles.
Why does he get pickles?
He's something special.
Apparently.
He marinades those pickles in something that he knows Coochie likes.
Oh. Little 151 maybe?
Yeah.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. And a bouncing ball to short. Cabrera to Donald. On to Laporta. An inning-ending double play. Justin Germano comes in. And the Tribe turns 2 to get out of the frame. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Still 4-1 Cleveland. Michael Brantley 2 for 3 tonight. Showed bunt, took a ball up high. Brantley singled and scored in the first. Singled, was stranded at third in the second. And he grounded out to shortstop. His last time up. Slammo with a 2-0, and that caught the outside part of the plate. 3 balls, 1 strike. And that's ball 4. This might be one of those games by the time it's all over. We could have a lot of pitches thrown. Let's go back to the studios for another in-game update with Al Pawlowski.
Matt, the Cards are a game behind the Reds entering play tonight, and Albert Pujols as well. Being Albert Pujols tonight, he's 2 for 4 with the homer and this double to drive in 4 runs. 7-0 Cards over the Marlins. Adam Wainwright, a 1-hitter. Back to you.
All right, here is Asdrubal Cabrera. 2 for 2 with a walk and a run batted in. Twins right-hander Anthony Slamma out of the University of San Diego. And a first pitch strike to Asdrubal Cabrera. I was just looking at something, Rick, as the 0-2 pitch is ready to be delivered to Asdrubal Cabrera. There's a shot of Anthony Slamma, and I believe this is when he was with the Fort Myers Twins, probably his rookie card.
Right.
It's a baseball card, and his name's misspelled. Anthony Salma, S-A-L-M-A, on his own baseball card.
Oh, that happens.
Yes.
Typo.
I can tell you, I get no respect at all. You know what I'm saying? Slamma, though, was a 39th round pick back in 2006. Back then, he was what they called the draft and follow. Draft him.
They followed him for a long time then.
And then they did sign him, but it wasn't until just before the 07 draft. Now you can't do that anymore.
Right.
Because now you have to have him signed by
August 15th,
Yeah,
I think?
yeah.
15th or 17th.
Two-two pitch. Strike 3 called, and the Indians suffer their first out here in the 6th as Cabrera is retired for the first time tonight. Here's the answer to our AT&T trivia question. AT&T Rethink Possible. Well, we knew you had to be one of these. Kenny Lofton has to be one, right?
Yeah. Keep going back. You got to go old school now.
Oh, I was going to say Larry Doby, but Tris Speaker. No,
Larry was a good one.
Yeah.
But no.
Okay.
Mikey digging deep, man, in the archives.
That's a good one. One of my friends texted me and said, I think Miguel Delaney is the other one.
1,000 games? Are you kidding me? He might have got kicked out of 1,000 games. No, he wasn't here that long. He had the one good year. I think it was 81.
Shin-Soo Choo, 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts tonight. He hustled to beat out a double play in the first, and that led to a run, though.
Well, Brantley took off and then stopped. You know, and eventually if he's going to get into that leadoff spot and you have a lead like this in the middle part of the game, you're going to want to see him do a little bit of running over there. Manny coaching third base. I don't know if he, would put it on. He gives him the green light, or he wants Chu to get a pitch to his liking. But now Chu's in a great count at 3-0. You know, the Indians, they have 7 hits, but the Twins have walked 7 guys, and it was a season high 6 walks for Liriano tonight, which ties a career high.
You know, Kenny Lofton was one of those guys as a base stealer, Rick. He looked like maybe 2-3 steps he was full speed. He got such a great jump.
Oh, God.
From
He was
0 to 60 and, fast.
Yes.
3-1 pitch. There goes the runner. Brantley got a good jump. Chu lines it down the left field
going.
line. That's a fair ball. Young trying to dig it out, but coming all the way around to score is Brantley. Speed kills, and the Indians now lead it 5-1 as Chu picks up his 51st run batted in on the year.
Well, and the walk comes back to haunt him. And, he was off and running. It's just a matter of picking up the baseball. When Chu hit that ball, and once he realized that it was going down the left field line and he wasn't going to catch it, he could score easily. You have to peek in, and Michael Brantley did that. And by the time that Young could get that ball, he scores easily. Chu into second base. It's now a 5-1 ball game.
And now Shelley Duncan. 2-run double and a run scored in the first. The Indians jumped on Francisco Liriano for 3 first-inning runs tonight after he came into the game with a 21 scoreless inning streak.
Well, yeah, and that guy, he was 3-0 against the Tribe this year. What did he go, 4 2/3 innings, and he walked 6. Not his night.
That's why, I'll tell you what, anybody that tells you they gamble on baseball and make money for a living is
They're liars.
Exactly. This is the hardest game to figure out.
Well, it all stems from that pitcher's mound, really. And, he didn't have his control. The Indians were patient. They went the other way. They stayed on the baseball, and they did a good job of getting him in.
Good off-speed pitch from Slamma.
Now, this is where, Shelley, you had mentioned in his first at-bat, going the other way. Now, this is where you go. When you're down 2 strikes and you got a guy in scoring position, you don't try to pull the ball now. Now you let the ball get deep in the strike zone. You track it, and you try and go the other way with it. Take the home run out of play.
Ooh, that was close. Didn't get the call.
There's been an awful lot of pitches tonight that have been close on both sides. And, and I think that may be one reason why there's so many pitches in this game. I don't know if that strike zone has been consistent, and I don't mean to be knocking Scott Berry's strike zone because I'm sitting up here.
Line drive just over the glove of Slamma. Casilla grabs it, throws out Duncan, 2 down. Chu slides over to third. Ball looked like it was in slow motion. Well, tonight after the game, join Chuck Galletti for Chuck's Last Call, presented by PNC Bank. We'll take your calls and emails right after the Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care post-game show. Chuck's Last Call, presented by PNC Bank, tonight after the game, right here on STO. Two down for Matt Laporta. Couple of walks for Laporta tonight. And takes a strike. Chu, the runner at third. And a called strike. 0-2 the count. Chu doubled in a run for the Indians here in the 6th. They now lead it 5-1. And Laporta drives one high in the air to center field, but Denard Span will make the catch, and the inning is over. Tried, tacks on a run thanks to the Chu RBI double. And after 6, it's 5-1 Cleveland. Find out more of what's possible at att.com. AT&T, rethink possible. By the Sierra from GMC. Never send a truck to do a Sierra's job. And by Wendy's. You know when it's real. Wendy's. "5-1 Tribe" as we go to the 7th inning. Here at Progressive Field. Danny Valencia leading off and looks at a breaking ball for a strike. Justin Germano on in relief of Genmar Gomez. Got a double play ball to get out of the 6th. Now stays on to work the 7th. Valencia fouls it off his foot. Activity in the Tribe bullpen as left-hander Rafael Perez loosens. Five runs on 8 hits for the Indians tonight. 1 run, 4 hits for Minnesota. And a ground ball foul. White Sox and Orioles tied at 1 at Camden Yards. Baltimore batting bottom of the 8th inning. Angels lead the Tigers 4-2. They're in the 8th at Comerica. Boston now beating up New York. 6-3 Red Sox over the Yankees. They're in the 7th inning in New York. Here's the line of the 1-2. And a ground ball foul. When the day began, New York led Tampa by a half game in the East. Boston was 6 games off the pace. And, of course, in the Central Division, Chicago with a 1.5 game lead over these Twins. Tigers were 9 games out. The 1-2 pitch. And a ground ball single up the middle for Danny Valencia. Hit the top of the mound and just skipped into center field.
Well, join the Chew Crew with the new combo pack. You get a reserve ticket in the right field lower bowl and a Chew Crew t-shirt for just $30. And the combos are on sale now. Stop by any Indians team shop or visit Indians.com/Chew Crew. I remember they came out with those Chew Crew or t-shirts. And wasn't it just like the game before they were going to put him out on sale and make the Chew Crew? He ended up diving for that ball and hurt himself. Yeah. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, he was having such a great year, but it didn't take him long. He came right back, and Chew was ready to go. So that's a nice deal.
The 0-1 to J.J. Hardy. Flared in the air to right field, where Chew in front of the Chew Crew makes the grab. 1 down. Brings to the plate Drew Butera. Drew Butera made his major league debut for the Twins on April 9th in Chicago. It was almost 30 years to the day that his dad made his big league debut with the Twins. April 10th, 1980.
Yeah, I did play against his dad, Sal.
And believe it or not, according to what I have here, they're the first father-son duo to ever play for the Twins.
No kidding.
In for a strike. In fact, Sal said, quote, "I told my son, that's great. You made me a trivia question." He goes, "I don't know if that makes me feel old, but it's a wonderful distinction."
Well, I think his dad's scouting now. I do know that. We bump into him from time to time, and I believe he's with Minnesota. I mean, with Toronto, his dad. I could be wrong there.
He was originally drafted by the Mets, but he came over in the Luis Castillo deal. That was back in July of 07, right at the trading deadline.
Well, you know, as a catcher coming up with Minnesota and you've got Joe Mauer there, you know you're not going to get a whole lot of playing time.
Check the swing. It was down low, 2-2.
This kid could have maybe the greatest career for a long time, just backing up Joe Mauer if he stays healthy.
He should call Mike Redmond and ask him for a few tips.
Well, that, and I'm trying to think of the guy that did it with Johnny Bench. Right now, his name escapes me.
Breaking ball tapped up the third base side foul. Boy, now that's a good.
Yeah,
I can't think of the backup catcher.
I think it was Bill Plummer. I think it was Bill Plummer that was behind Johnny Bench for 10 years. You know, how many at-bats did he have? But you max out on your pension. It's a pretty good lifestyle. It's like a backup quarterback in the NFL, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's going to,
I was just thinking that's like backing up Peyton Manning. The guy plays every snap, hardly ever comes out. 2-2 pitch, unless they're playing the Browns and there's a playoff spot at stake. Ground ball, and Nix just kind of kept it in front of him. Couldn't come up with it cleanly, and Butera's aboard with one out here in the 7th.
You know, this is it is a tough hop. He wanted to come in and get it on the shortest hop possible, but he just couldn't catch it cleanly. You know, so he was back there for a while, and that was a little tricky hop. So it'll go as an error. And out comes Maniatta, and in comes Perez.
2 on, 1 out. We've got a pitching change here at Progressive Field. Tribe on top, 5-1. Rafael Perez coming on for the Indians for the 48th time this year. 3 wins, no losses, ERA 3.72. He has turned his season around, Rick, and I think you could probably also say he's turned his career around this year, because I'm not going to shy away from it. I was one of those guys that said, okay, it's time to move on from Rafael Perez. And he's not helping his club. He walks too many people. Just wasn't effective. And I was one of those who said, yeah, I think it's time to find somebody else. But you know what? Their patience has been rewarded here, because he's turned back in to a very good left-handed reliever.
As you talk to anybody that's been in baseball and they have to deal or put together a bullpen, I think you have to be patient, because you're right. He was, at the start of this year, horrendous, with an ERA of about 8, and his job was to come in and get outs. But you're right, the patience has paid off. I don't know what he's tightened down, but he's throwing more strikes. He's not walking as many guys.
And a first pitch strike to Denard Span, who was 1 for 3.
But we've seen it in the past, and maybe part of their patience has come because there's been another left-hander in the bullpen, and Tony Sipp, when he got off to the good start, Perez was not. And then Perez started to pick it up when Sipp was not, but it still gives you two left-handers out of the bullpen. And for the longest time here in Cleveland, they went with maybe one left-hander, even if they had one.
Well, and I'm just thinking back. You were talking earlier about that Joe Mauer at-bat.
Right.
He was facing Rafael Perez.
Yeah.
And I remember his quote the next day said, Perez is nasty. And I remember chuckling, thinking, really? Well, he's found it again.
Well, he can't throw the ball straight.
He gives left-handers
fits. He can
fits.
sink it. Yes, he can.
Span was tempted to chase after it, but held up.
Well, and look at baseball and how many left-handers have been around for 10 years that, you're thinking, my God, they've been with 10 different teams. But they find a way of resurfacing. But if you can get left-handers out on a consistent basis, you've got a job in the big leagues.
Darren Oliver, ring a bell?
Oh, God.
Ron Mayhay. I mean, you're right. Good left-hander relievers, they don't go away.
Well, what about Mike Myers? He went into acting and still came back and pitched.
The hard span. He goes down swinging for out number 2. Arch with a little humor. Set him up, knock him down.
Let's check the sequence here by Perez. Gets ahead of him, strike one with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Drops that slider down and away. Wouldn't chase that one. A good pitch, though. Then comes right back and gets him with a slider. Good sequence by Perez.
Alexi Casilla looks at a strike. He is 0 for 3 tonight. Twins have 1 run tonight. It's not that they haven't had some opportunities. They're 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position.
That's the best hitting team in the league in that department, so you give credit. Indians pitchers have done a good job.
The only run they scored tonight came on the sac fly by Joe Mauer. And that run was very nearly cut down at the plate, but the throw from Trevor Crowe nicked the runner, Butera, and the ball never got to Lou Marson. Rafael Perez trying to work out of this jam. And the 0-2 to Casilla. Bounced wide of third.
Big fireworks display to follow tonight's ball game. Be synced to country music. And I'll tell you what, at the start of this game, I didn't think there was going to be many people here, but they came in, didn't they?
Yeah, not a bad crowd after it's all said and done.
They got all the F-150s parked in the garage ready to go for the fireworks show.
The 0-2. Down on the dirt, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Once again, Kenny Lofton will be inducted into the Indians Hall of Fame tomorrow night before the ball game. Come on down and join us. Be great to see a big crowd to honor Kenny. Ceremony starts at 6:30, so get here early. Weekly tapped foul.
Yeah, I could just tell from when we talked to him and the look in his eye that he's very honored to be inducted into the Hall of Fame because he's a man of few words. And, you could just tell by the look in his eye and that little smile that he shows. He certainly deserves it.
He was a game changer. There were very few players like him. The 1-2 pitch. So the Indians had a distinct advantage against a lot of teams because there weren't many teams that say, well, we don't have a Kenny Lofton. We don't have a guy that can get on base, steal second,
Well, that was
Steal
back in the
third.
day where they said, we want a leadoff hitting center fielder that can run, that can do those things. Teams went after that because they had one. And to this day, they're still looking.
Mm-hmm. The 2-2. Just missed inside, full count.
Well, this is the guy he wants. He certainly doesn't want to walk Casilla to get to Mauer.
Adam 0-2. Now the runners will be off with the payoff pitch. And it's yanked down the left field line. And a fair ball into the corner. One run is in. They're going to wave home the second. Cabrera's throw to the plate. Marson can't dig it out. And the run scores. Down to third goes Casilla. Throw beat him to the plate, but Marson just couldn't come up with it cleanly. And the Twins have made it a 2-run game. It's now 5-3 as Casilla drives in his 9th and 10th runs of the year with a 2-out, 2-run double into the left field corner.
Well, he stopped running and then started because it does stay fair. Now, this is a good relay throw from Crow. It's a bad throw from Cabrera only because it short hops. See, you can't get that big hop when you're the catcher. You either got to go all the way in the air or you got to give him that one true hop that he didn't get. You can't pin that ball against your chest to try and tag the runner. So that throw was just a little too far up or too close to Lou Marson, or he would have been out. And it's 2 more runs, so it's a 5-3 game.
And now Joe Mauer takes a strike.
That was a big hit by Casilla right there.
Those 2 runs charged to Germano, but neither will be earned. Once again, 0-2 the count. Casilla the runner at third now with 2 away. And the 0-2 to Mauer. Line to short on the short hop. Cabrera stays with it. Throw to first. And it's in time to end the inning. Minnesota gets a pair. Stretch time in Cleveland. It's now 5-3 Tribe.
Much with 3 new locations now open in Chagrin Falls, Solon, and Brunswick. Coming soon to Twinsburg. So log on to Panini'sGrill.com for a list of the locations. And the Minnesota Twins are going to have a new pitcher. It is John Roush, a guy that has come on. He was a closer early up until They got Matt Capps before the trading deadline, so he's 21 out of 25, and the big man appearing for the 39th time this year for the Twins. Really did a good job for him when you consider that their closer is out all year and was right from spring training.
You always wonder how that impacts a bullpen when you have roles shifting, though.
Well, you do, but someone had to step up, and at that point in time, they weren't sure about Liriano. Whether they wanted to start him or send him to the bullpen. And Rauch was a closer before, and has closed for a year, but you just don't know what you're going to get, and then especially at crunch time.
Well, especially when you say crunch time, you're referring to September
after the All-Star break, second
yeah.
half when the pennant chase gets underway like it is right now for the Twins.
There's a line drive base hit up the middle for Jason Nix. Some people say that the races don't really start until September.
Well, that's probably true when you're looking at things like that. I mean, the real races, but I mean, after the All-Star break, you started jockeying for position. Games in July and August mean just as much as they do in September.
And a strike call to Trevor Crowe, who is 0 for 3 tonight. Drove in a run with a fielder's choice back in the first. Big John Roush looks in, and he is all kind of big at 6'11". That ball hit Trevor Crowe.
Yeah, it did. Yes, it did. He was going to bunt. That breaking ball comes down and hits him in the leg. Tried to get that foot out of the way. It looked like it caught him in the shoe. Ooh, that was a shin.
Tonight's box score is presented by Mass Mutual. You see Michael Brantley and Asdrubal Cabrera, the top two guys, have combined for 4 hits. They've also scored two, and driven in one. Chu with an RBI double. Shelley Junkin had the big 2-run double in the first that jump-started the Tribe here tonight. Jason Donald 0 for 2 with a walk. Twins looking for the bunt. He squares. Throw down to second base, and back with a dive was Jason Nix. And as you've said before, when you're expecting that guy to bunt the ball, you're trying to get that secondary lead. When he lets it go by, you've really got to hurry to get back.
Yeah, you have to make sure. But I mean, it's okay to expect him to bunt it, but if he makes a decent bunt, you're going to get to third base anyway because Nix runs well enough. I mean, it's just sometimes you get caught out in the middle because you see his bat right on the plane of the ball, and all of a sudden it goes through it, and they miss it, and you're caught out in the middle of nowhere.
Again, Donald squares, takes it again as it misses, and it's 2-0.
That's the key to bunting, is make sure you get a strike. And if you don't, or it's not around the strike zone, you take it. Harris is up and getting loose in the Twins bullpen. And these could be a couple of big runs here for the Twins to answer that 2-run seventh by Minnesota.
The 2-0. He's not bunting. Fouls it straight back. Well, he might have given him one shot, 2-0. Now let's see if he puts the bunt back on.
He certainly did. I would. I would certainly do that. Even though, I mean, you always look at the situation. You say, okay, if I want to bunt him over, I'm giving up an out for, look who's on deck. Lou Marston's on deck. So maybe that's why he wanted to give him a shot. He doesn't have to relay his signs to Smitty. Smitty still serving his last day of a suspension.
He squares. Pulls it
Attaboy.
back, and it's low, 3-1.
There you go. He gave him one shot at it. You're right on the 2-0 count. But now it's 3-1. It's basically the same thing.
It's got to be a strike, or you take your base.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about giving him a swing. Let him swing again. And I'd say go ahead. You've got it in a young player's mind to bunt. Jason Donald hasn't been here that long. He's programmed to bunt. I would continue to bunt him right here.
Let's see what they do. He's swinging. Pops it up. Back. And this will find the seats.
I certainly understand the reasoning from Manny by letting him go ahead and swing because, like I said, Morrison's on deck, who hasn't been good at driving in runners from third base. So he wants the kid to get a fastball, and hopefully he can hit a gap and maybe double.
Right. It's one thing if Donald's batting in the 2-hole and you've got Chu on deck.
Right.
Although in that case they'd probably walk Chu.
I really understand the reasoning. I do. He's given him his chance to hit. Now he's going to swing again. There is no bunt. That takes the bunt totally out of play now. And I can understand not wanting to give up and out when you have a 2-run lead.
Payoff pitch. And it's fouled back. So Jason Donald in a 3-2 kill with runners first and second and nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th. Indians were 3 for their first 6 with the runners in scoring position, but they're 0 for their last 8. And the 3-2 is fouled out of play again.
Well, this is a good count or a good situation for JD. He knows he's not going to walk him. You're going to see a strike in this situation. So, boy, just be patient and make sure you get a good one to hit.
Again, the 3-2. Again, it's fouled away. They've gone to extra innings in Baltimore. White Sox, Orioles tied at 1. Angels lead the Tigers 4-2. Detroit batting last to the 9th. And Boston still leads New York 6-3. Yankees batting in the bottom of the 8th. Toronto beat Tampa Bay 2-1. One more time, the 3-2 pitch. Struck him out looking.
Slider.
One down. Let's go back to the studios for another in-game update. Al Pawlowski has the latest on that Red Sox-Yankees battle in the Bronx.
Hey, man, it's a pretty good one. 6-3 is the score right now. They're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Ryan Kalish, though, has given the Red Sox a 3-run lead. 2-run shot here in the 6th inning. His first ever. Makes it 6-3. Back to you now.
Boy, Al, we were impressed with Ryan Kalish in Boston. He was some kind of hitter to start his career with the Red Sox, and he's just continuing right on. Meanwhile, there's a soft liner to short, and that's going to end the inning with a double play. So we go to the 8th, 5-3 Cleveland.
Indians.
5-3, Indians lead it. 8th inning here at Progressive Field. Right-hander Joe Smith will come on in relief of Rafael Perez to work the 8th inning. Andy Marte, meanwhile, has come on to take over for Jason Nix defensively at third base. So the batter will be Delman Young. He'll be followed by Jason Kubel and Michael Kadire. Boy, you know, this is one of those deals, Rick, too, where you would love to see Joe Smith set him down 1, 2, 3. So that way in the 9th inning, you're looking at the bottom third of the order. Even though potentially you could be seeing Jim Thome off the bench, but you'd rather face the bottom of the third than have to deal with the top of the lineup. Because this is a Minnesota Twins team that can get going in a hurry if you give them if you leave that door cracked open a little bit.
You're right. I mean, absolutely. You've worked your way through it. You've got Young, tough out, Kubel, and then Kadire. And you remember, you got Thome off the bench, left-handed here, in case somebody gets on if they need it.
Oh, nice play by Asdrubal Cabrera. He had to go in the hole, throw across his body all the way to first and on the money for out number 1. Hey, the Fest is Northeast Ohio's premier free Christian Family Festival. 2010 marks the 10th anniversary. Takes place this Sunday at the Center for Pastoral Leadership in Wickliffe. Starts at noon. Live music, raffles. Check out Tony Stewart's number 14 Old Spice Chevrolet. Rock Walls, affordable family food and fireworks at 10 o'clock. For more information, visit thefest.us. Fouled back. You know, this is an interesting stat, and I don't know if this is really that surprising. It is to me, though, as good as the Twins are. When the opposition scores first, they're 14-31.
Yeah.
So that's telling me that when the opposition scores first, it happens like it does tonight, where it's not just a one spot, but maybe 3 or 4 early.
You get them early.
There's a high drive, deep right field. Chews out of room. It's out of here. And it's a 1-run game as Jason Kubel hits his 14th home run of the season. That was a towering home run to right field that just kept carrying.
Well, they're sitting back, and that's looked like a slider to me. And you can't throw that slider down and into left-handers, because I'll tell you what, you get under it, and that enabled him to get underneath it and hit a long way. Came on an 0-2 pitch.
Michael Kadire 0 for 3. Right back to the screen. Minnesota does have 21 come from behind wins this year. One ball, 2 strikes. He's lucky he didn't hit him with that 0-2 pitch. Now the 1-2. Right over the top of the dugout, and that got into the seats in a hurry. Holy mackerel. That skipped right over the top of the dugout suite. Now left-hander Tony Sipp is up in the Tribe pen getting loose. Swung on and missed. 2 down here in the 8th as Joe Smith gets the strikeout.
Yeah, that's a good pitch. Running it inside. He couldn't keep, or Kadire couldn't keep from swinging at that ball as he realized it was running in and in. He just tried to foul it off.
Now Danny Valencia looks at a strike on the inside corner. Our crowd tonight here at Progressive Field is 25,275. But 5,692 of them walked up and bought tickets tonight, which is the largest walk-up crowd. There's a ground ball to third. Marte with an incredible pick and an even better throw. Oh, Andy Marte coming into the ballgame for defense, and that's exactly what he displays right there. Bottom of the 8th inning.
Boy, what a play by Andy Marte. You watch him go back, and he just timed that. He waited back on the ball, gets rid of it on the 360 spin, and makes an accurate throw on a terrific play. That is not an easy play right there. Hey, and you know what? When they put you in for defense, you got to make the plays, and I'll tell you what, he made it right there.
Left-hander Jose Majares coming on now for Minnesota. Michael Brantley as Drupal Cabrera, Shin-Soo Choo due up for the Tribe. And a pitch is down low. 2 balls, no strikes. Chris Perez loosening in the Tribe bullpen. Could be coming on for yet another 1-run save situation.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
4 straight. He already set the mark for the Indians.
Yeah.
With his 3rd consecutive 1-run save converted.
2 in Toronto and the first one in Boston.
Yeah. And a strike is called on the inside corner. 3-1. Brantley's been on safely 3 out of 4 times tonight. 2 singles, a walk, 2 runs scored. will run the count full, 3-2. Payoff pitch. Popped him up. The left fielder, Delman Young. One away. Here's our Miller Taste Greatness moment, May 7th, 1995. Kenny Lofton with a base hit up the middle. Ending, I think, was the longest game
is that Minnesota
ever played here. Like a 6.5 hours.
6:36 it was, because I did that game, and I'll tell you what, that was an exciting ball game. For extra innings, you know, sometimes they're boring and things like that, but that was, there was action all through that game. That was a terrific game.
As Drupal Cabrera socks one into the alley in left center field. He's on his way to second base with at least a double. And he will stop there with a 1-out, 2-bagger. That's his third hit of the night. Boy, it's good to see him start to come around offensively. He was 0 for his last 8 coming into tonight, and he was batting just .203 since being activated from the DL on July 20th. But he's having a whale of a ball game here tonight.
Yeah, he missed so much time. You knew he's playing catch-up. It's like spring training for him. They look much better tonight. Gets a low fastball, drilled it to the gap, gets the Indians' 10th hit. And there's a nice insurance run.
Chu looks at a ball outside. Maharis ready with a 1-0. Foul tipped it down low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hey, Browns Family Day is tomorrow at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Free admission, activities kick off at 9 a.m. Fun for the whole family. Browns will scrimmage at 1. Visit clevelandbrowns.com for all the details. Should be a good afternoon. Downtown Cleveland tomorrow with the Browns tomorrow night, or with the Indians tomorrow night, rather. 2 balls and a strike. Chu with a drive, deep right field. Kubel is back, over his head, up into the seats, a ground rule double. Chu drives home Cabrera. 6-4 Cleveland. Chu's second RBI of the night, his second double of the ball game, and the Indians with a 2-run cushion.
You love to get that insurance run there, and Chu took advantage. Put a nice swing on this ball, gets it over the head of Kubel, and Maharis makes a mistake. And I'll tell you one thing, Shin-Soo Choo took advantage of it. That's going to do it for him. He did get one left-hander out, but the back-to-back doubles will chase him from the ball game.
Timeout in Cleveland, 6-4 Tribe. 6-4 Indians lead it thanks to the RBI double by Shin-Soo Choo. And now he's at second base with one out for Shelley Duncan. Matt Guerrier on for the 51st time this year.
Well, trying to keep it a 6-4 game.
He's the fifth Minnesota Twins pitcher to work tonight. Oh, Choo was breaking to third. They got him picked off. That was either a stroke of luck or incredibly well timed. But Choo looked like he was going to bolt toward third, and Guerrier spun around. Casilla was breaking in, and they had him dead. Take another look here. I don't know if he was going necessarily.
He wasn't, but that's, you still have no business being out there. I mean, you're in scoring position, and those pitchers, they make those moves. You got to make sure you're going to the plate.
You don't want to take away a guy's aggressiveness.
No,
but
you do not.
How do you reel him in?
Well, no, because all right, what did Tolley tell us before with secondary leads or Smitty? With Choo, he got thrown out at the plate one time. He's saying, well, his secondary lead wasn't there. Well, you want to get a good secondary lead, but you also have to be aware of that, the turn move, the inside turn. You have, it's just all part of base running. It takes practice, and you've got to pay attention to it and details to it at all times.
Foul back.
Trying to think, were we on the road? Where was it? Was he thrown out here? He was thrown out here at home plate. And he said Choo ran, it was bang, bang, and it was the Yankees. It was Gardner that threw him out at home plate.
Yes.
And, he says, well, he didn't think his secondary move was that good, but you know what? That's what he was doing. He was trying to get off of second base, so you continue to work.
Duncan launches it fouled on the left side. I never like to see a player talking to the head trainer on the bench. You get a little nervous with that.
Well, he slid back in there with his knee, and that's probably where he was hit in Boston, and it's probably still sore, and he hasn't said anything.
Yeah.
Told you, I asked him in Boston, how's your knee? No problem.
Yeah, he's not. He's
right.
He's not one of those guys going to limp around looking for sympathy.
No, not at all. He's a gamer.
Duncan drives it to right field. Kubel on the move, runs it down. So the inning is over, and we go to the ninth. 6-4 Cleveland. Chris Perez will try to close it out when we come back. Crowd of over 25,000 on hand here tonight as the Indians will try to close out the Twins in game one of this three-game weekend series. Chris Perez will try to nail it down, looking for save number 14. He'll face J.J. Hardy, pinch hitter Jim Thome in the on-deck circle, and then Denard Span.
Chris has 8 straight save conversions. He's been dynamite, and he's really done a terrific job.
First pitch strike to J.J. Hardy, who is 0 for 3 tonight. And it's 0-2. There's Jim Thome. Hardy pops it foul and into the seats, out of play. Here's the set on the 0-2. Little chopper, going to be a tough play.
Let it go.
Perez tries to throw to first, but it's not in time. And the Twins get their leadoff man aboard with that old swinging bunt.
Nothing you can do. I mean, he made a good pitch, and you top it, and it stayed fair. Well, and the reason why I said let it go, I didn't mean for Chris to let it go, but I was thinking don't throw it and don't give an extra base. Just sort of put it in your pocket because you knew he was going to beat it out there.
So now the tying run at the plate in the form of Jim Thome. 577 career home runs to his credit. He's hit more of his 577 home runs here than anywhere else. And a swing and a miss. Thome's hit home runs in 38 different ballparks, including 13 that either don't exist or are not in use anymore. Think about that.
Yeah, well, with all the new ballparks in baseball, yeah, it's easy to believe.
Checked up high. Veteran Stadium, the Metrodome, Old Tiger Stadium, Old Yankee Stadium. County Stadium in Milwaukee, Municipal Stadium here in Cleveland, Old Busch Stadium, Shea, Riverfront in Cincinnati, the Kingdome, Olympic Stadium in Montreal, and the old ballpark in Arlington, plus Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh.
Well, right now, Chris Perez is going to try and keep him in this ballpark, Progressive Field.
Here's the 2-1. Foul back to even the count. Thome 10th on baseball's all-time home run list. Of course, Alex Rodriguez is now 7th all-time with 600 career homers. But there is no doubt, and especially after, hearing the candid and forthright comments of Kenny Lofton, who's a contemporary of these guys, I think there's definitely going to be some debate as to the legitimacy of some of these home run numbers. There's a high drive. Deep left center field. Brantley back. He's out of room, and it is
home
off
run.
the top of the wall. And into third base goes J.J. Hardy. We may have a review situation coming up here.
I think it hit the railing. That's what I think, because it looked like it jumped down on that yellow line.
Ron Gardenhire's coming out to...
I'm thinking that they are going to review this, and they probably should.
Here's Jerry Davis, the crew chief. He'll call them all together and see if anybody else had a different view. Greg Gibson, the third base umpire, made the initial call. Now the question is, if it hit the here we go. They are going to go look at it.
They have to look at it. And just from my first look, I thought it hit the railing and the line and came down. He knew he hit it good enough. He's hit enough balls in this ballpark to feel it. Let's take a look. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Oh, boy, that's tough to tell on that one. It almost looked like it hit the very top of the fence.
Yeah, because you see how high it goes up? It might have. I mean, I didn't get a good look at that.
Try it again.
I didn't get a good look at that
Let's
angle.
look at it without the magnification. Just look at it maybe in real time even.
There it goes. Well, that's tough to tell. Tough to tell right there. It does get over the fence. It's over the yellow line. It looked like it hit something. I don't know if it hit that railing because the railings are right behind it.
That hit the top of the fence, Rick. I don't think it hit the railing.
Well, that'll be interesting because I don't know what angle they're going to have or what they're going to use, and it did go straight up.
That angle right there really looked like it didn't hit the railing. It just hit the top.
But it didn't look like it hit the. Yeah, but what's over the top of that? I want to know. Because it did. You know how we see some that hit the top of the yellow line and come back? This one went straight up in the air. And you're talking about the tying run if it's a home run.
Well,
that is going to be a tough call.
Umpires are taking a look at it right now with instant replay. One more look at this from that other angle. Oh, well, man, that's tough to tell. I can't tell if
what's
that hit.
Behind that. I know it. I can't either. I can't tell. That is a tough call. And now this is super slow-mo. I'm saying that hit. Yeah, it's tough to tell. You know what?
Well, we'll wait and see what the umpires decide. I'm saying it stands. I'm saying it's a double.
All right. I won't disagree with that.
Because I didn't see anything in there that
no.
is,
Well, that's our view. They may not have that same view. That's a home run.
That looked like it went
That's
over.
a home run.
That looked like
what
it
I
cleared.
thought. You see, then it went straight up.
What is that it hit back
well, you
there?
see, it hit a railing, and
That's
it
not a
deflected
railing,
up.
though. It's almost like it hit a piece of concrete.
That's going to be a home run.
No, they're going to stay with it.
Oh my goodness! I think they catch a break.
Well, I tell you what, not until we unearth that last piece of video, and Ron Gardenhire's going bananas now.
Well, you can't argue it. They went in and looked. Now you see, I don't know if they have a shot.
Well, he's going to get thrown.
Well, yes, he will. He can't argue that. They went in and looked at the replay.
Well, I mean, I understand Ron Gardenhire being upset here, but what's he supposed to do? They already looked at it. Gardenhire's not done. He wants to get thrown out, I think.
Well, that last look, you know what? They did not see that last look, I guarantee you.
It almost looked like Jerry Davis said, I don't know what you were looking at.
But he might have been looking. They have monitors down there. I don't know if it's our replay on that last one that we just showed, but I'm telling you, that last one we showed, to me, I thought was a home run. But the Indians catch a huge break, and that's why this guy's fuming, and that's why they're going to let him vent.
I'll tell you, we looked at it I don't know how many different ways, but until we saw that final angle, it looked like it hit the top of the fence.
You see, that last shot that we took came from the right field bullpen camera, right? That's on top of the dugout that we were able to get it, and what a great shot that was. But that showed it went over that yellow line, and it comes. Watch this. This is where we could see that it was over the line and hit something else.
At least it appears that way.
Yeah, it hit something over there. I'm telling you, I got to go look at that tomorrow. But, well, that's still nobody out. Man, on second and third, and that's a tying run and scoring position, and they're going to get a pinch runner now for Tomey.
So Jim Tomey credited with a double, not his 578th career home run. And we will see if that changes the outcome of this game. So 2 on, still nobody out. Long way to go for Perez to get out of this jam as Denard Span fouls it straight back. Six, 4 Indians, but they're hanging by a thread with nobody out. A strike is called to even to make it 0-2. And the thing now you look at, Rick, you're going to have to face Joe Mauer. Unless something out of the ordinary
unless you get
happens.
a line drive, double play, or something happens like that, you may have to.
The 0-2 to Span. Struck him out. Oh, he had him fooled. He wasn't sure what to do. Kind of half offered at it. And that's the third time Span has struck out tonight. 1 down here in the ninth.
What a pitch by Chris Perez. There you go. You get number 1. That's a good backdoor slider. And, I mean, that's a good pitch. Rarely do you see Denard Span swing like that. So he was definitely fooled on that pitch. Perez gets out number 1.
Now, Alexi Casilla 1 for 4 with a 2-run double in the 7th. A line drive up the middle into center field. 1 run will score. Here comes the pinch runner, Plouffe to the plate. It's cut off, and the Twins have tied the game.
I want to know where that throw was that Laporta cut off. And he was looking at first base like he was going to get him, but that hit your cutoff man. As an outfielder, that's what you're taught to do. The guy is not going to go from first to second if the ball is down. It goes right back up the middle, and Brantley's throw came on line. That ball looked like it went through. Now watch Brantley's throw. Hit your cutoff man and let it go through. Why'd he cut it?
I do not know.
I have no idea why that ball was cut right there. You've got to let it go. I know that's a go-ahead run going to second base, but he was going to continue to run anyway, and there was nobody at first base to throw behind.
Fouled by Mauer. So a blown save here for Chris Perez.
Casilla, 4 RBIs on the night.
Go ahead run now for Minnesota at first with 1 out here in the 9th. That's pretty well to left. Crow broke in, now backpedals to make the catch for out number 2. Delman Young is 1 for 4 on the night with a double. That came back in the 2nd inning. Here's the 0-1. And it's fouled away. No balls, 2 strikes. Normally, doesn't a first baseman or even the third baseman, aren't they relying on somebody to tell them to cut it?
Usually, yeah, the catcher will let you let it go or cut it. But I guarantee, Marson, that's a tying run. Marson's not going to tell him to cut it. The ball hit the cutoff man, and you just let it go.
Swung on and missed. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. All knotted up at 6 apiece.
What are you cutting it for? What are you going to do? There's nobody at first base to get the guy going to second base. He can make that turn all the way he wants, and then you see the guy sliding into home plate. You go at that ball and you make a play and you pretend you're going to cut it to decoy him and let it go through to home plate. That's the whole design set up right there on a cutoff.
Laporta drives it deep left field. Cut this off. It's over. Indians win it 7-6. Baseball was, is, and always will be a game of redemption. And Matt Laporta, while he may have made a mistake in cutting that ball off, more than makes up for it right here with a game-winning home run.
He wasted no time, did he? That was unbelievable. I mean, and a big win for the Indians because they were trying to give it back, but oh, man.
7-6, Indians win it as Matt Laporta delivers with his 6th home run of the year, jumping on that pitch and driving it out of here. And that brings us now to our play of the game, brought to you by Key Bank. Switch to Key and get a free Sony Bloggy. Visit key.com/bloggy for details.
Boy, you didn't miss it. Looked like a breaking ball. Guerrero ends up into the seats. There's no doubt about that one. Matt Laporta excited.